Welcome to another episode of The Stream Room. That's right, the podcast about content creation by content creators for content creators. And this week, LJ, I thought I told you to shave those sideburns. Nick, why are you not wearing the uniform? It is bad advice has been given to streamers, possibly by other streamers or what you've seen in general. I am one of your hosts, Reapz.
Hello, I'm LJ, and I may have given you bad advice.
Yeah. And I'm Nicktacular, and I take his bad advice.
Hey, I like it. How are we all feeling this week, boys?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah.
Doing solid.
I'm chugging along. I had an early start this morning. I was normally with the podcast, I wake up and I, have a coffee, put a Northern Lion video on, kind of get my brain going properly. But last night I released a video and I'm a railroader right now, but I have to tell you guys, this is wild to me. I've never had this happen before.
Okay.
So I use a whole lot of tools, okay, within the first 24 hours to check my YouTube releases, okay? And I use one called Tubix, which kind of like scans through everything, checks your SEO, checks all this stuff, and then it'll even scan your thumbnail. And you can also do things like A/B thumbnail testing. So you can upload 2 thumbnails to Tubix, and then it will run it for like 4 or 5 days, or as long as you want it to do. It'll track which one performs best, and then it will give you recommendations on which thumbnail you should put on your video, right? Really cool tool. I bought it like 3 years ago when they were a tiny little indie startup, and so I've got grandfathered pricing. Now it's like $100 a month or €100 a month.
Jeez.
But I got it for 45 AUD a year, so I'm loving it. But essentially, I jump on this morning to check Tubix, make sure everything's all working correctly, and I was trying to figure out why last night's YouTube release was so aggressively underperforming. Very important video for me, has a massive sponsor attached to it. It is on YouTube growth, which obviously I'm a streaming channel and a lot of people who've subscribed want streaming content. They're less there for YouTube content. But it shouldn't have underperformed this much, right? And I was like, maybe my packaging is bad. Maybe it's not appealing. Went on Tubix, checked some other stuff. I was going to run an A/B test and change the words on my thumbnail from grow smart to something like fix this or start here, right? Tubix comes up and says, warning, your thumbnail has been marked as explicit and it has been deranked and de-optimized in Google Safe Search.
What? Why?
What the heck?
So this plays into today's topic. I have been told for the last 2 years to use bigger creators' faces because people know them and makes them more accessible. And I do that on this channel. right?
Yeah.
I'll use larger content creators, but I'll use them really carefully and stuff like that. And because this channel's a podcast, it's more about news and events and stuff, right? And I've never really used larger creators' faces on Stream Scheme because I don't think, why would I do that when it's me talking? But this video, I use Mr. Beast in it a bunch. I show Mr. Beast's advice to back up what I'm saying. So I use Mr. Beast in the thumbnail because I want to test out to see how it works. Mr. Beast's face is marked as a safe search because so many people try and spoof his content or steal his content. So if you upload a video and they read it and go, this is likely a spoof or a scam, because they read Mr. Beast's face and they read like how to grow or get quick on YouTube, they marked it as explicit and said it was possibly spam or a scam.
Oh, crap.
We're in the future. We're in the future right now. This is crazy.
So my first 11 hours of this video, aka one of the most important 11 hours, this video was de-optimized and deranked by YouTube and Google. So a tiny amount of my subs have seen it. Like impressions are terrible right now. And I've just had to go in, wake up this morning and rip Mr. Beast out, put my face on. I've picked like 2 different faces, 2 different like looks to the thumbnail, and I've uploaded them as an A/B test. So hopefully that fixes it. But I've never had that happen before.
That is crazy.
Pretty wild,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
That's advice I was given. I was told, use bigger creators' faces. It'll get more clicks. It's more accessible. And we all agreed with it. All 3 of us. Well, yeah, people have said that before. I showed you guys the thumbnail.
Definitely. This is amazing to know that, because you think, Mr. Beast is the face of YouTube. He is the fastest growing content creator out there and all this stuff. And he's, philanthropy, everything like that. And to know that he is now a safe search in terms of, because people use his image so much to do scams and stuff. I understand it, but I'm also like, what if you just want to do like a good, this is crazy. What if you just want to do good stuff?
I'm sure it connects to the title, the topic, everything as well, right?
Right.
But
okay.
in my space, it was marked as potentially a spoof or a scam.
Okay.
Because I'm using one of his most well-known images of him because I thought it was most recognizable.
Okay.
But they're looking at it and probably going, okay, it's how to grow on YouTube. It's using our guy. It's using his face, blah, blah, blah. This could possibly be, a scam. We can't risk it.
Wow. Holy mackerel.
That's really, really interesting.
But imagine if you didn't have like Tubix to look at that. You would be like, why is it underperforming? You would have no clue. And now, well, that's it. As you said, a good piece of advice. Jeez.
Yeah.
Don't use Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Well, like, I think you can use him as long as it's like you're very careful about it. Like, another thing that sometimes gets flagged in safe search is if you use really like aggressive text.
Mm-hmm.
You use all capitals aggressive text, right? It can really get caught there as well. There's all sorts of little things in safe search that I've found over the few years, but I've never had someone's face pop up because I always use my own, which isn't marked as that. I did have one of my thumbnails get marked as racy content once because I was like this. I had my finger up to my mouth and I was trying to like do a thinking and they thought it was like a
LJ, stop! You're too sexy. Stop it.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I was going to say, jeez.
But also to back this up, I also tweeted the video release as I always do, and the tweet also has been limited impressions. Like it's aggressively underperformed more than any. Like we've the thing is I've tweeted out videos about the YouTube channel and about YouTube growth before, and they've done really well. But this specific one has also been limited really heavily as well. And Twitter won't tell me why. All I know is that it's being limited because the impressions are so low. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, well, I've learned my lesson. When people say to use bigger creators' faces, you have to do that very, very, very carefully.
Yeah. Just really particular types of videos to attach it to. Like, there's videos of like, oh, how so-and-so grew their channel. So I'm assuming those would probably slide through okay. Yeah.
Those are probably fine. But yeah, I guess not for this one. But I do use, it's not clickbait either, right? Like it is, but it isn't because I use Mr. Beast in the video a bunch, right? Like in the first 3 minutes, we have him speaking for like 30 seconds and then we have him speak for another like 30 seconds, just like 2 minutes later. And like we use him a bunch. But it was really, really interesting. So that was my start to my day. And I was shocked. I was just really surprised by that. Yeah. Otherwise, everything else has been good. I told you guys all about my ISP issues that I've been having.
Yes, you did, and you showed us the workings.
Yes, officially fixed it all. Not from anything that Twitch has done. A lot of people are still struggling, and people are going to be like, "Well, if you fixed it, it wasn't Twitch's fault." I just want to throw it out there. Anyone listening to this who even thinks that for a second, I streamed to YouTube and had zero issues and zero connectivity issues. It was literally just connecting to Twitch that was having issues. And every person I've spoken to who's having this issue has done the exact same test and has been totally fine. They're able to stream to YouTube perfectly fine as an alt account to test on.
Wow. That's
so.
Wow.
There's something, and everyone's saying the same thing. Everyone's saying mid-February to late February, something changed on Twitch. And all of these people are suddenly struggling to connect, and no one can find the piece of tech or the piece of hardware that's causing the issue to connect to the servers.
Is that number of people growing as well? Like, has there been more people popping up that have been having this issue?
The more I tweet about it, the more people are going like, "Oh yeah, me too. What the I thought this was me alone." But like everyone's like, yeah, it all started. Everyone I've spoken to has been like, yeah, it started being really unstable in like mid-Feb. I've been streaming for years and never had issues. Don't know what's changed. Some people are like, well, Twitch updated and got rid of API v5. I'm like, well, that shouldn't affect your Twitch connection. That should just affect your OBS connection. And this has been independent tests with Twitch tests and everything. So, but essentially, it's all fixed. It's all fixed.
That's good.
I came back Thursday evening and I did 2.5 hours of just chatting. Got to like 150, 160 average viewers. Then I played Kirby to 180 until I got a raid or something like that to like 250. I know I shouldn't care about average viewers, but like that was just a good return stream. Then I came back Thursday night and we did a just chatting stream and then rolled into reviewing the BAFTAs. And I gotta throw it out there, guys. I hate Game Awards.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Why can one game be allowed to be nominated for like 25 different awards?
Because we know with award shows, it's all about money. It's about like we'll give you X amount of dollars for us to put, the game in here. And they'll be like, well, we've got to return on the investors. I know they say it's all about, it's all about the quality of the game and it's all about this and the other. But honestly, look, you're not going to get an indie unless it's in the indie category. It's all AAA blockbuster like Activision, goddamn EA. Like they just put their stuff forward and that's it. So,
well, the music and sound category is one that's frustrated me so much this year. Because they keep putting these fucking things in, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the music and sounds because they just bought a bunch of copyrighted music.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like just 80s ballads, isn't it?
It is.
It's not already original music. Like,
And like Returnal was in the BAFTAs for best sound or best something like the best sound, but it's like okay, but is sound design or is sound music?
Yes.
But Guardians of the Galaxy is under best sound on the BAFTAs as well, so clearly they're just classifying it as everything that makes noise, right?
that rock falling sound.
Amazing. Love it.
Wilhelm scream, bring it on, good stuff.
But I'm sat there, right, like reading these BAFTAs, having a bloody conniption on stream because I'm looking at best sound again for like the 5th Game Awards show that's happened this year, and Road 96 isn't even nominated.
I know Road 96 is good, man.
How good is that game?
It's
like
amazing.
I found it because of Out Reapz, right?
Oh, really?
And it's one of the best things I've ever played on stream and ever played in general. Like it's like a very amazing game.
I've seen bits and pieces, but never played it.
You gotta play it, dude. You got to. They got 12 different bands or artists to come in and do an entire original soundtrack for the whole thing. Wow. You got these guys called Cocoon, and they're there like giving you like the road, which is like these beautiful light strings, lifting you up, making you feel free. You're off on this youthful journey, this embark. Nah, fuck that shit. Volcarex, this like Austrian techno guy is suddenly blaring as you race down a highway. And then, oh, sorry, now it's nighttime. You're staring up at the stars, and you're listening to these. I think his name's Danny Gideon, and he's there playing Far From Home, and it's like you're wistful and alone, and you're just thinking about how far from home you are, and it's like, fuck, dude, it's so good.
Yeah,
that's the game where it's like you make choices and like things kind of happen depending on.
It's like procedural. Yeah.
It's called procedural. They called it procedural narrative, and they built it themselves using node flowcharts and color-based assignments to have different emotions to all the different events. So you don't just get like bad. Like it'll go through all the different colorful nodes to give you multiple different events.
Yeah.
So that way you actually go on a real emotional journey.
It's very cool.
Road 96 is one of the best games. And if you're listening to the streamers, play it.
Yeah.
Play it on stream if you want to. Don't play it offline. I don't care, whatever it is. Just play it. It is an amazing game. And it's the only Stanley Parable, Fable 2, and Detroit Become Human are 3 games that got choices right. And now Road 96 crushes them all.
Wow. Going out there with a hot take. Wow. Road 96, the way to go. I'm very interested to see what they'll do in the future. That whatever developer they've done some amazing stuff. And the thing is, you can do it multiple times because there's all these different avenues you can take. I'm not going to give it away, but like there's always an ending sequence that will change everything depending on if you go there. It's like, oh, you've already done that, so you've got to do this time. And you're like, oh, I wish I did it with this person instead because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with this. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Every single choice, no matter how small it is, at the end of the day affects your entire game and every single character in the game.
Yep.
Legitimately, like it's just everything. I won't say anything.
You've sold me. I'm ready now. I'm ready to go. All right, guys, I'm leaving the podcast.
All right. This has been the stream room. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So I came back and I did the BAFTAs, and I was angry at that because the Road 96 is amazing. I started a new secret project, which I won't tell you guys about. And this plays into the advice as well because I was once told the advice: when you start a new project, show it off to everyone and get feedback and make sure it's the best it can possibly be when you start out. And I would do that. I would come up with ideas for documentaries or for videos or all sorts of stuff, and I'd pitch it to people, and then people would turn around and go, "That's such a cool idea. I love that. Absolutely smash it. You're great. You're brilliant. I love you. Can I have your children?" And I'm like, that's great. I feel good now. These people love it. So at the end of the day, I've got the gratification. I never did the projects.
Yep. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
So I've started the project as of yesterday that I came up with the day before, and I've put a fuckload of work into it for like 2 hours last night. I had like 3 vodkas and just sat there just like smashing this workout.
Hell yeah.
And it's really good. It's really fucking good, and I'm really excited. And I'm going to get like a bunch of the work done and just have it all going secretly in the background, and then I might reveal it in like 2-3 months.
Nice. Is it something for, can we ask if it's for like stream, for YouTube, for none of those? Or
I won't tell you, but it's completely separate from everything I do currently.
Cool. Okay. That's very exciting. Awesome, dude. Awesome. We should probably get on with how our weeks were. LJ, you were saying that you came back obviously from your internet connections, and Thursday you had a great stream back. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, obviously?
No, those are my 3 big things.
Yeah.
Road 96 is the best game ever. Fuck the BAFTAs. Don't reveal your projects too early. Just get them done and get results. And don't listen to people when they tell you for years that you need to use big people's faces, because who knows? You might be doing it totally fine. If your growth is working, you don't need to break the bank to change things up.
Nice. Good.
That's
Nick,
good.
how about yourself for this week?
Yeah, I had a bit of an interesting week. So overall it was a pretty solid week. We played Kirby on Friday night, which honestly was one of the most fun we've ever had. So I'm not sure if you boys had seen the photo floating around Twitter or the clip, but I created a very cursed image of myself as Kirby.
I have
did
seen
post
that.
the Discord as well.
I was blown away by. I'll put it in the edit of this. I'll put it over your face right now, Nick. Of that blurred image, and I got to say, a credit to your Photoshop skills, because it mends perfectly. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. I then went.
I love Photoshop.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful piece of software. I then took it a step further and created a closed mouth version and turned myself into a PNG tuber talking through that Kirby, and my viewers could redeem that throughout the stream to just change.
Oh, I thought it was just on all the time.
No.
Every time I was there, it was on. So I just assumed you just had that on the entire... I was in your stream for like a while, dude, and I just thought it was on all the time.
So what happened was I set it to like be on screen for 5 minutes, and I set it for like a 10-minute cooldown. However, I misconceived that, and essentially the cooldown starts from the moment it's redeemed. So essentially it was only on cooldown for 5 minutes.
Right.
So misjudged the cooldown time. So basically we'd essentially go about 5-10 minutes without it on, and then someone would be like, oh, it's back, and then they redeem it again. Was a great hit though. We had so much fun. But the week overall was interesting. So something we've talked about on a previous podcast was, and we kind of had the sort of discussions like, oh, would you rather have like a really bustling, super active and engaging chat at like 50 viewers, or would you have a dead chat at 100 viewers, right? And this week is what it was. So, again, to reiterate, I hide my view account while I'm streaming. I should, like, these boys do the same thing as well. And so that's what I was doing. And I've had it, and every stream was fantastic. And then I would look at my graph afterwards to see how the stream performed. And that's kind of where we're at. We've had a little bit lower, where it's like kind of averaged about that 60 viewer mark. But streaming these nights, had no idea. It felt like it was more.
Yeah.
Even with the Kirby night, I felt like this is going great. There's new people coming in. They're enjoying it. They're having fun. And I really thought it was performing better than I thought. But, and then I was like, then it was kind of a little, oh man, I thought that would do a little bit better. So that's kind of what the week has been overall. But really, I've just been doing a lot of, little bit of sort of looking inwards, trying to see how we can improve. And I've had a really good chat with two of my mods yesterday about sort of furthering the channel and further balancing all of the redeems and like the TTS and that kind of thing, because we're still feeling that things are a bit much. Things get too much, and we've got to try and reel it in, essentially, because we think that we still might be pushing away a lot of new viewers a lot of the time. Like, keeping in mind, world opening up, time zone changes. We're not trying to fall into the trap too much, but we definitely feel like there's still some things to do. So we've been talked with them, talking with more of the mods about how can we improve the channel and make it more fit sort of the type of audience that we end up reaching to and the type of people that watch. So
what's funny?
Sorry.
No. I'm interrupting you to add on to what you're saying. So you're saying like we might be turning people away, right? And obviously, remember, at the end of the day, you might also be bringing people in with this, right? Like at the end of the day, because you need to figure out what your key demographic is, as we've always talked about. But I want to give you an example on the same topic. It's probably not something you're dealing with, but I thought it'd be interesting to you. So I know a content creator, and they had someone in their chat who was a very good friend of them. They were a mod, and they were very active. But they were also, the jokes they made were very funny. Everyone thought they were funny, but they were the kinds of jokes that maybe some people would think are kind of crass or off space or whatever it is, right? For the space they're in. They were playing Super Mario Odyssey, and it was fine, right? And they would do things like similar to how I'll make jokes on Valentine's podcast, where it's like, come here, Reapz, let me give you a kiss kind of thing, right? Like like those casual back and forth little banters. And he would make jokes like that with other chatters and stuff. And a lot of them were fine with it. But they found that sometimes newbies would leave really quickly. Or they thought maybe that the jokes were starting to think. And the streamer said to the guy, you know, hey, can you maybe just ease up a little bit? Because on nights when you're not there, chat is a lot more active. And so he started being a little bit more casual or a little bit less active in chat, and everyone else started becoming a lot more active. And so it's an interesting thing you're saying, right? Because there are so many different things that can cause your activity to go up or down, or to bring people in or turn people away. And I think one of the things I learned early on was actually listening to Nutty, and Nutty and I were just talking. He was live and I was just in his chat, and I said something like, yeah, well, you lose 15 viewers every time you go pee. And he goes, one of the things I realized was, as a streamer, every single thing you do, you will either lose or gain viewers. There's no middling. It's you will lose or gain viewers. And that is something you have to be comfortable with.
Yep.
So you're looking at your stuff right now and you're deciding, you know, is it too much? Is it not enough? What is it? Where do I balance it? But just be very aware that that might be why your 60 to 75 love your content. And there might be another 10,000 people who love that, who just need to get their eyes on you. So if you think it's not what you want, right? If you think it's not what you want for your content, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, heavily consider what your content is. Because if your content's supposed to be like Barjo's, well, then maybe you need to go the complete opposite direction, right?
Yeah, and just like
lean
more into it.
Yeah, but if your content's supposed to be like, I don't know, like myself or Limmy, you know, then yeah, strip it all back and just focus purely on chatting. Yeah. And this is what I had to realize as well, Nick, and we've talked about this over the last few weeks. And that's why I mentioned that Thursday and Friday night, I just went live and did like massive long, like 2-3 hour chatting sections. And I've had my best average viewer without an event in ages. And it's because my content shines the best when I strip everything back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't be too harsh on yourself, or don't be too critical of those aspects, because it might be legitimately what your content thrives in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing we've always we spend a lot of time talking about this, like what is the identity of the channel. And what we found was that, and kind of discussing it and just sort of discussing the past and how the channel's always been, we've always had a unique spin on the channel. Whether it's been like the unique raid responses, but also like the interaction that we're able to offer with the viewers through channel points and bid alerts and that kind of thing. Like they're able to do stuff to the stream and do stuff to me. And we kind of and Emmy Lou, who coined this term, which kind of really summed up how the channel is cozy chaos. Is we're able to have that kind of coziness vibe, but then all the memes and like the jokes that we make like kind of brings in that chaos that's palatable, digestible, without kind of going super like in everyone's faces. But yeah, you're right. It's like there's a big part of that. You know, a lot of this fun stuff is also what would get people to stay, and that's why we're tightening the bolts. We're not sort of like removing anything. We're more so just kind of gently finding that balance. And also, one thing we found is that we need to tell people to calm down on like just ear spam from like the TTS.
Oh right, yeah,
that's the one thing. That's the one change that we need to make. Because like, guys,
I still think it's wild that Stream Elements doesn't have fucking spam prevention at all.
Yeah, that's what bugs me about. Like, I just want to go, there should be a character limit of this and all that kind of thing. But
when I moved from Streamlabs alerts to Stream Elements, I was so confused for like 3 weeks. I thought I was just a fucking idiot. No, I'm not. It's legitimate. It's just there's nothing. Stream Elements won't do it. They've had petitions for 4 years to do it. It blows my mind. Like legitimately, but I feel bad if I click skip alert. Yep. But I'm this is going to ruin it. But now when it's really, really long, if I really want it to stop because it's been too much, I click skip alert and pretend like it's a character limit.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Because I can't do anything else, right? Like, because it's like I chatters, if you're listening, I love the ahs, but sometimes I'm in the middle of a story or I'm trying to do my thing, and if I click skip alert, it's not because of you, you know, it's just because the content at the time needs it, and the reason you like watching me is because I make hard decisions like that. So you RRR and I'll weigh in. All right.
Yeah. I've told people that I skip alerts. Like if it's too long or it's like, this is the sound of an airplane. And then you're like, I've heard this before and it's really not beneficial to what I'm playing at the moment. So skip.
Yeah. Sometimes it's great. Like I had, like we've had some really hilarious ones that like, were timed well. It was a moment where there was a lull, like, like the conversation finished or whatever. And then they did it and it was great. It was just like, oh, here's like, I'm starting up my car, blah, 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 blah. And it was great. It was hilarious. But yeah, sometimes it'll just be at the worst moments. I think that's like, there's almost almost a conversation itself on like how to teach people that like timing is everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
very much so.
I think
we talked a bit about that. We talked a bit about like a few podcasts ago. Remember, we said like the gimmicks can be really distracting, and then we gave some references to like big cutscenes where like TTSs come in.
Yeah,
and how you deal with that. So yeah.
Yes. It's a difficult beast to navigate at times because, again, we always talk about that. Like there's the thing of like somebody's giving you money so that they can, say this thing on TTS. And then there's the thing also of like, but is this beneficial to the stream or is it just going to throw everybody off? So it is kind of, that's where you have to make those decisions. And I guess the advice we're trying to give is don't let it derail it, especially if they overtake the stream. Because I find that a lot of streamers let chat overtake the stream where it's more the chat's show rather than their show. Like there's just a facilitator. And once they don't have that freedom, then they'll go elsewhere and the person who was the streamer feels bad because these people have left because they've tightened the screws and they think that's a bad thing. But in the long run, I would argue that it's very much a good thing, especially if you want to create your own brand or, stream channel. Yeah.
It's collective versus individual. It's what we were talking about the other week as well, where like you hit partner and suddenly you lose all your viewership. And it's like, well, it's probably because you haven't learned how to make content for a collective.
Yeah.
You've learned how to make content for individuals. And now you've got 100 viewers and it's really hard to focus on everyone.
Yes.
Which is a hard lesson that I think every streamer needs to learn. I think there's, no matter who you are, you could be told 1,000 times, content for the collective, not for the individual, and explain that whole thing. And I think you'll still make the same mistake of making content for individuals and then having to evolve to make content for the collective. And you'll lose viewership. I've never met a streamer who hasn't made this mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. We all do.
Yeah, it's definitely been a big learning process because like, and also not like another part of that as well. It's like, we sort of had a discussion on whether having the squats on the channel is kind of like a fun additive or if it just really takes away from the content. And what we found is like, yeah, it's a bit of fun, right? But especially if a few viewers dogpile a bunch of squats on me, then like that's like 10 to 15 minutes that I'm like spending squatting and not doing content. Some would argue it's great content. But we kind of had to sit down and think, okay, yeah, the squats are kind of like a big deal for the channel, but one, your boy's got bad knees, okay?
Yeah.
Two,
yeah. I think it may be the thing also, Nick, of like sometimes with those, what I had to do when it comes to channel point redemptions is I go, is this a channel point redemption worthy or is this like a bit/sub worthy? If you do like a subathon or things like that, because if you've got a channel redemption for like, say, LJ, I'm going to eat a spoonful of Vegemite, I would probably go, no, I'm going to save that for those big streams where
5 subs.
Pardon?
It's 5 subs when I do my big streams.
Yeah, exactly.
Every 5, not like individual gives 5. Like every 5 will be another spoon of Vegemite.
Exactly. And that's, you save them for that. You don't want to just give it away on like imaginary points. So like for squats, I think it's a good thing for like charity streams and things like that. But for the big ones that I've had to do, it's like sometimes I just had to hone it all the way back because every stream I had one called Show Me the Kitty. I didn't want to say the P word for obvious, TOS Twitch things.
Yep.
And basically, it's me grabbing my cat and going, "Here's my cat," and they love it. But the thing is, I put the cost too low, and obviously my cats. It's awkward because it's like I now have to go and find my cats throughout the house, throughout the garden to bring back to show them on screen for like 20 seconds, and it's like that's lost time on stream interacting with people and just a blank screen. So that's part of the reason. Yeah.
Imagine if you had a head-mounted GoPro and like chat just watched you like search through your house.
Although it would be doxing my own house and like, okay, that's how I enter. That's how I steal this.
His house is so messy. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still doing the office over here. Jesus.
Every room looks exactly like the one he's got right there.
Yeah, just that one. Yeah, I'm just a hoarder. Like multiple things.
Completely empty. Like every room is empty. No, you're completely right though, and that's what we discussed was like, adding sort of like different squad amounts to like the sub wheel. So we spin a wheel like every 10 subs, like 10 subs, resubs, and upgrades. So we felt like it would probably work better for that. Like it's more of an event and that kind of thing. And also it's like, so people still get that fun, but without like we without really taking away from that content and, you know, giving my knees a break, because I've always had bad knees growing up. They look really weird anyway.
They work perfectly. He just doesn't like them because they look weird.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. I have duck feet. It's a bad time.
It's funny, right? Because this people are going to be like, oh, they've got distracted again. But this is actually advice we get given, right? Like what Nick is saying here about all the stuff you add to your stream, like the rise of stream advice. We constantly tell you to stand out, right? Like myself, Nutty, Harris, everyone's constantly telling you have to stand out. You have to go above and beyond and stuff like that. And one of the easiest ways to stand out is just by adding more and more redemptions and channel points and events and overlays and stuff like that. And this is like my new preach it. Like this comes up like once every week for me on streams, on the podcast. I bring it up constantly now, where it's like, is it distracting or additive? And it's because I keep seeing, I go to all these small streamers channels and the advice they've been given is stand out. And their idea of stand out isn't, I'll do an interesting content piece that is like a core content. I'll just add 20 new overlays that all pop up when channel points go off. And it's like, it doesn't help always.
It's very good. It's basically my advice to this, because I have received that advice, and I think I did earlier on. I just want to throw as much shit on the camera as possible, because you know, people live in a very kind of like, you just have to always keep them entertained or always engaged. And there is this streamer who does that. And, you know, I went to the thing and I admired the amount of effort that they put into it, but it just became the fact that it was just too much for me. It was like sensory overload, that I couldn't enjoy the content because there was no content apart from random stuff coming up on the stream. So I think the best thing that I would say in terms of advice that I'm giving you, which may be bad advice, but if you're making a stream, make a stream for yourself. What do you want to go into watching? Because if you try and copy another streamer because they're successful doing this, but you yourself don't really like that stuff, it's like, but this is the meta at the moment, I've got to go with the meta. You're going to hate yourself in the long run, because again, there are shifts. There are shifts in terms of what people watch and what demographics people watch. So really make a stream for yourself, what you want to see on a stream. Look back at the VODs that you've done, especially if you're a new streamer, and go, oh, that was a lot better in my head, or that was a lot worse in my head, but actually this works or this doesn't work. Because it's so valuable to look back. And it's something that people just do not do. And we preach it every single week. Please look over your VODs. I still do it to this day. I'm like, oh crap, that green screen was out of place. So there's a little like black mark at the bottom there that can see into my room. Just things you don't notice because you're so absorbed with the chat, the game, and not so much the OBS over here. So that's my advice that I would give. Don't, as LJ says, rely on gimmicks, or rather, you know, crazy redemptions to make the stream, because they are there for you, hopefully, in the long run. Yeah.
Because it's what you said is super powerful, right? Because if you don't know who your key demographic is, when you start out, the only thing you can go off is content you'd like.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the big thing. And people do not watch their VODs back. I feel like every video I'm telling people to watch their VODs back in some form, right? Because I just if I say it 50 different times, 50 different ways, it finally will affect the people who need to hear it, right?
Yeah.
But it's like people just don't watch it back. Like I don't know if I told you last week, but I finally had some people who took the ninja course get back to me. So I had three streamers I know did the ninja course, and then 2 or 3 commenters did the ninja course. And pretty much everyone came back and said, yes, everything you guys thought it was. It's very generic advice. You know, the TAs are lovely, but they don't seem like they know anything about streaming. They're just being given a handbook. But one guy was like, oh yeah, no, I have gotten stuff out of it. I've gotten a lot out of it because I went to link my VOD to all the different community members to do the share back and get advice stuff. But I watched it first and my microphone quality was terrible. And I was like, and he was like, so if I didn't take the course, I wouldn't have watched my VOD and I wouldn't have seen the microphone quality. And like, I replied back saying, can you really give the course credit for that? I feel like you should have been watching your VOD back anyway. You know, like politely, like I'm paraphrasing. And they were like, yeah, I wouldn't say it's got enough. I wouldn't say it's worth the money. And you're right. I should have been watching it anyway. It's like, well, so maybe I need to make people pay $280 for a year course and just have them log in and I go, now go watch your VOD. Is it shit?
Yeah. $280, please. But it really is that thing, isn't it? It's I know that a lot of people, when they start off doing any type of, but some people may see this as acting. Some people may see this as like a form of performance, which it definitely is. people have a problem. I know that I did back in the day of when you do acting, you have to sometimes film yourself and watch it back. And there's nothing worse than watching yourself back, trying to perform and trying to do this thing like, oh my God, it's so fucking hokey, everything like that. But it's so important and it's such a valuable skill. You know, we talked about last week about what are some skills outside of media and stuff that really benefit you in streaming. And that is to criticize yourself accordingly by watching back what you do, by listening to what you say and how you act in front of a camera. Because yes, it can be very cringeworthy, but again, it's just you. You're literally just watching yourself like a mirror. But get over that obstacle, get over that hurdle of just like, I don't want to do it. You know, I'm sure I'm fine. Do it because you are going to learn so much. You will learn little idiosyncrasies that you're like, oh, that's so distracting. I always do this with my hand, you know what I mean? Like in the background, and that's so distracting. It's like I'm on edge or anxious, you know, just little things that you can change, curb, just really focus in on it. Yeah.
That's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given was from a guy called Ben Marriott. Now, if you don't know Ben Marriott, he's a YouTuber.
I do know Ben Marriott. Yeah. He does like commentary.
He does.
Social commentary.
He does animation, VFX, motion graphics.
I'm thinking of a different Ben. Okay.
Yeah. So he is honestly, I said he's a lovely guy. I met him at a convention back when I worked in the industry, right? Lovely, amazing, talented human being. And he did a talk, and in his talk, he talked about the fact that he's a VFX guy. Now, if anyone knows any VFX and motion graphics guys, we're not exactly the most extroverted people, right? We're very, very specific. Yeah, exactly. We're a very specific breed, and we do things a very specific way. And sometimes it takes us a lot to get comfortable on camera, right? To get that confidence. And he said that for him, one of the best ways his videos started performing so much better was when he, every single day, would sit down with his phone, look directly into his phone, and he would talk for 10 minutes and try and be as entertaining and engaging as possible. He wasn't allowed to plan anything for the recording. He wasn't allowed music, games, editing, anything like that. He literally just had to talk for 10 minutes to be as engaging as possible. And the 10 minutes was up, he would stop recording, close his phone, go about his day. Okay? The next day, he would sit down, pull his phone out, and he would have to sit there and watch the entire 10 minutes with no skipping, no editing, no music, no distractions. And the moment those 10 minutes was done, he had to open up his camera and record another 10 minutes. And he repeated this daily for months and months and months and months and months. And I started doing that right after I saw his talk. And holy shit, it helped me so much. Mm-hmm. So now in like every time people talk about confidence, and I have this in like, people are like, LJ, why you keep telling me to do the 10-minute recording in my videos? Because I've mentioned it like 8 times now across the last 2 years. And every time they ask me, why do you keep mentioning this? I reply to them back saying, have you started doing it? And they're like, no. And I go, then I'm going to keep fucking telling you to do it. Because it is the most powerful tool and tip I have ever been given. And I can ever give someone who lacks confidence or is scared of their voice or wants to be better on camera or whatever it is just 10 minutes every day. It isn't that much time and energy. And if you can't do it, you will not be a streamer.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of like that whole Ludwig thing when he gave advice. It's like, write down your goals. Did you do it? Well, if you didn't, you're not going to be a streamer ever, because if you can't like do the simplest of things to help better you, that I'm giving you advice because I've made it, then what chance do you have, even trying to network in the future? Yeah.
It's not just for people who need extra confidence either. Mm-hmm. Like everyone has places where they can become a better presenter. Everyone. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, no, I'm pretty happy with how I appear on camera. Okay, then you've got nothing to lose. Just do it. Fucking do it, please.
Yeah, there's no harm in doing it. Like do it as a test. Prove it to yourself. Prove that you're fine, and record and be like, and then you look, and then you probably look it back and think, oh, actually, maybe I could probably improve myself a little bit more.
Yeah, I say I'm a lot. I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, when I'm not talking, I go to a resting bitch face. Which is what I do. If I'm not talking, I go.
That
no one can see it, but audio listeners, it does look like I'm scowling.
Constantly, he's just constantly unimpressed all the time.
Every day.
That's
the eyebrow furrow.
For me, like it's more because my brain is always running at 100 miles an hour. Okay, this is why I have to take medication for ADHD, because like it brings my mind into a good level, right? Mm-hmm. And and I'm still learning how to basically function like a normal person. So yeah, at times and you could watch our previous podcast. You'll see that I start with a thought and I go there, and then halfway through I'm thinking about what I'm gonna have for lunch today. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do tonight. My brain's just gone, and then I forget what I'm saying. So it is really tough, and it would probably be very beneficial to me to actually try that.
Yeah.
I'm lazy, so I'm gonna have to really push myself to do it. But
It's 20 minutes, Nicholas.
I know. I have to get into it. I could do it while I'm having my morning coffee. So
Exactly.
No, you're not supposed to be distracted. It's 20 minutes, Nicholas. You just need to spend locked in your room with your phone.
All right, fine.
You know LJ's serious when he says Nicholas, okay?
Yeah,
it's not
his full name.
Nicholas, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Reapulus, you going to do it?
Yeah.
Every syllable counts.
I said that to my girlfriend, and she used my full name, but I was like, it's weird. Only my family, my parents call me by my full name.
When you know you're in trouble, it's the full name.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Eljayem.
Exactly.
Eljayem is my full one.
Yeah. To bring it back, and I think realizing who my demographic is, I think has been my biggest challenge, because I'm very similar. Have noticed that content that's performed well, similar to you, LJ, where it's where you're able to really be in your element, and you're like kind of single player games, and you're able to have that bit of freedom to kind of make jokes, make wrong decisions, do just something dumb and fun. That's kind of where you're really in the element. And so that's what I'm trying to sort of find, play games that kind of give me that bit of freedom to do that. And while at the same time, we've got these redemptions which can really lend themselves to funny stuff happening in the game. And one of those things, like where there's a couple new scenes that I'm going to be adding that's going to be stuff that I'm in control of, where rather than creating gimmicks, I'm more so trying to create things that help the channel be unique and fun things that can happen on stream, but not exactly a gimmick. So I'm gonna be giving you guys a little bit of a scoop. Okay, something I'll be unveiling soon. But I have created Bandcamp.
Uh-huh.
All right. So this is essentially, I've made a little campground scene. All right. We've got there's a little hole that has the timeout hole. I've got a place where I can put my camera on there. And you know what? If someone's being cheeky or insults me or anything, send them to Bandcamp. We've got a little bus that comes out as well. All right. And we can do it in fun ways. So we're going to have, think about having like a redemption where someone could send someone to Bandcamp, and then obviously I'll do it manually. It's not like automatic. It'll just, pull me out of a cutscene or anything.
Yeah.
We can have someone send someone to Bandcamp, or if I think someone, is being cheeky or whatever, I can send them to Bandcamp as well, as like a little fun thing. So there's more like things like this, which I think will be a really fun sort of additive thing to add to the channel. Little it's like a little sidestep, and then we get back to the gameplay kind of thing.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think LJ, like you really need to hit it nail on the head. It's like you need to find your demographic, and I think the hardest part is figuring that out. And I guess one thing I could ask you is like, what is the best way to figure out your demographic that you?
I think at our size, you can do all sorts of things. Like you can check check where the majority of your followers have come from, check where the majority of people who stick around are from. You can break down honestly like just your general geographic locations and stuff like that, or your age, or you can make a joke and see how many people post KEKW and go, okay, well that one didn't work, or that one really did work. You know, I think there are a lot of different things you can do. At our size, I think naturally you'll start to figure it out because you'll be able to see what performs on your channel. If it does perform, then that's your key demographic, and you can either lean into it or you can go, well, I don't want that key demographic, right? But I think the biggest thing is for longevity, you make streams, as Reapz and I said a second ago, that would appeal to you. Because I think a lot of the time, the chatters who you like best, or the chatters who are most entertaining or most engaging, will reflect your beliefs, opinions, your humor. They'll reflect your energy and a lot of other things. And I think that is really the biggest piece of advice is if you make content you yourself will enjoy, well, then you'll probably attract more people like yourself. And that's a good thing.
Yep.
You look at the I Am Speed situation, and I wonder how much I Am Speed is making content that appeals to himself. Or is he making content just desperately for any kind of viewership, right? And we're not gonna get into this,
No.
but like there are a lot of creators like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like like Northern Lion as well. Northern Lion makes content that he himself would like to start. He doesn't start videos like, "Hello everybody, how are we doing?" Blah blah blah. You know. And Point Crow has openly, as I said last week, been like, "That's too high energy. You're 11 p.m. at night. You're watching a YouTube or a stream. You just want someone to just be, hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to this thing." And that's content he wants to absorb.
Yes.
So consider what you like to absorb. Honestly, that's the big thing. Consider what you like to absorb. That's why this new project I started these last 2 days is because I looked at all the stuff I was doing and thought, on the podcast, we talked about this YouTube channel I started, the LJ one. And I was trying to figure out why I was struggling to get content out on it. And it was because I've been told so often, as I said last week, that this is the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to do it this way. This is the way it's supposed to do. But then I kind of took a step back and realized that I don't give a fuck about any of this. Streaming the content is fun. The interaction is fun. Turning it into a YouTube video, it's not very fun. I don't enjoy watching it. Mm-hmm. The people who have already seen the stream, they've already seen it. They may click it, but it's not. The content hasn't aggressively changed. So their retention rate's really low. They get bored because they're like, I know how this ends.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm bored as well because it's not the type of content that I want to be making.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think that's a big thing, is just figure out the type of content you enjoy watching, and you'll probably enjoy making that content as well. And if you don't, well, then you might just not enjoy content creation.
Yeah. Very good point.
Yeah. The hard hidden facts. But and also guys, if you're going through the same sort of things, having the same sort of thoughts and feelings, or you're in the same sort of situation, let us know in the comments below. Let us know what your thoughts or things you've tried.
I didn't CTA today, did I? I'm sorry.
Everyone pump it up. We got a lot of comments of LJ pumping in the last podcast. Lots of pumps were happening.
Yeah. I was just replying back to people being like, pump it, pump it, pump it up, pump the jams. Why your feet ain't jumping? But yeah, so I don't know. I think there's a lot of advice out there about what type of content you should make, and I think that hopefully is something that helps. I think our week so far, we'll go on to Reapz, but I think our weeks so far have been actually pretty on point with the channel topic.
Yes.
If you look at it from a bit of an abstract direction.
Yes. Definitely. Advice, for sure. Definitely.
How about you, Reapz? How was your week?
Yeah, I'm going to make it a quick one. This week for me was kind of all over the shop in terms of I just had a lot of real life stuff to do. My mum flew back overseas, so I spent time with her. It was my birthday week as well, so people sent me, Nick, a lovely kuda board, Eljayem, a lovely kuda board. It was very funny because it was Nick on my stream, on my studio, sorry. I let him in. He filmed a quick thing. It was lovely. And then LJ as well with, I didn't want it to be shown. I didn't want to show everybody how ripped we were. But ladies, gentlemen, that is how ripped we are. After we do this, we all just, we talk to each other.
Up on screen?
Oh, you
I'll
put it up on screen.
If you're not listening to this visually, you need to see this beautiful imagery.
We're pretty ripped, and that's no cap. That is really how we look. But we don't want it to be about our bodies. We want it to be about our minds and our personalities on this podcast.
Hence, it's my body.
Bit of the body as well. But
it's a sneak peak for PAX,
Oh yeah, Orgy Room 207, was it something like that? A little bit of the
217.
217. Sorry, 217. But for me, it's been a week as well of reflection because it's been about a month since this time last month, I was preparing for the big moving offices, which have done the big rebrand, everything like that. And now that I've had the downtime, it's like I'm familiar with the studio now. I know the buttons, I feel more comfortable, but now it's that thing of like I need to go further in terms of I need to go back onto making content ideas. I need to do YouTube videos that have not been recorded on Twitch. Like I miss the days of myself where I'd go onto like subreddits like DIY and kind of do like a commentary on that. Things that make me more creative in my own space that I don't have to always be on. So I'm going to go back to making some YouTube videos that are completely OC, which is going to be a lot of fun for me. And of course you'd like them to perform, but more at the end of the day, it's kind of like what you're talking about before, LJ, in terms of filming yourself for 10 minutes a day and looking back. For me, it's about presenting something and just what takes I can get out of what I see on camera. So yeah, I'm hoping to do that because again, a piece of advice that you always get given when streaming is put all of your eggs into streaming. If you want to be a streamer, don't focus on things, just focus on streaming, focus on that. When obviously we know that there's a finite I should say, half-life to everything. Especially when it comes to what you believe. Twitch, definitely, it is the mecca. We know this, we've talked about it, but things can change so quickly. Who knows if Amazon's like, I'm going to sell this over to Microsoft, you know? And then everything changes. Like there's just this uncertainty. We're at very good time. There's stable ground. But when
just the idea of Microsoft coming in and doing something, I was just like terrified.
That's what I mean. But it can happen. Like they've got the money. They bought how much these days? They bought like Activision, Blizzard. They got the money. They can buy it. Amazon, I think, will only keep Twitch around as long as it's still profitable and still, on the uptrend. If it ever like stagnates, I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon's like, well, we don't really need it as an asset. It's something that's nice to have in our portfolio, but yeah.
Isn't Twitch still not profitable yet? Or like
it's no, yeah.
Technically not. It was purchased for the AWS servers, but now the AWS servers are being used for other things and all sorts of stuff. But
because
everything was fine until the Fire Nation attacked. I mean, Microsoft.
It's like they bought Twitch for like their like streaming technology. Like they wanted they wanted like, more of their back end stuff. And now technically, like if Amazon wanted to, it's like they could still keep a lot of that stuff, but then just sell the platform.
Yeah, exactly. They could just sell.
I think Prime is what they like as well now, right? Because think about it, right? I know so many people in my community who have bought Amazon Prime purely because of the Twitch sub.
Yeah.
Like it's just wild how much that all the Twitch gaming connections as well and stuff like that. Like I use Amazon Prime. I barely remember to use my Prime sub, but I use Amazon Prime because I love getting the Fall Guys outfits or whatever it is, or Back 4 Blood outfits, and and there's so much power there because an Amazon Prime account is it's a lot of money a monthly technically, and it's like, that's a big thing to keep someone in your ecosystem.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I use it already, so the fact that it's exactly now all these different things. Yeah.
I buy stuff from Amazon like a fair bit.
Yeah.
So it comes handy.
And every person who uses their Prime sub, which the majority forget to use their Prime sub, you give them $2.50 USD goes to the streamer.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing compared of a percentile of the people who sign up, right? The people go over to Amazon, sign up for Prime so they can use a Prime sub. And then they're like, okay, you're paying, what is it these days, like $15, $20 or $11 or something like that?
Yeah.
But either way, whatever it is, it's then $2.50 of it goes to a streamer. Like that's an affiliate link essentially.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing.
I think I'm paying like $8 a month for Prime. I think
I don't know an annual thing. I forget what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I pay yearly as well.
Yeah, I do as well to get that discount. I think.
Yeah, those discounts.
But what we
you can tell I'm in touch with the common man. How much could a banana be?
Exactly. Oh, we're going to ask you that this week. But what I was going to say is we need to get on to the crux of the conversation, which is bad advice that we have taken or maybe even given. Which we definitely would say, don't do that. And probably go another route.
Want to hear the worst advice? The worst advice I've ever been told or ever heard ever?
Shoot.
And it comes up all the time. This still comes up. Every time I go live during the day and have all the American streamers who are new guys and stuff like that come in and talk to me, they always ask me this one question. And it always blows me away. The one piece of advice that I've heard that I think is the worst advice anyone has ever given is if you want to grow, be a streamer, but then go and join other streamers' communities, become active there, make friends there, and then share your stream to those people and do it all just to get views. Essentially, the advice is telling people to go and pretend to make friends and to go and do those things. Like this is different to networking. If you're only going to be in that stream because you want to get those people to watch you, then that isn't networking. That's just being a bit of a scumbag and a liar. And as a streamer, you guys must get it as well. But I get constant fucking DMs like, hey man, I want to collaborate with you, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I don't know who you are. You never watched my stream. You've got 2 average viewers, which I don't really care. I stream with my mod Cheese, who has 5 average viewers, for fuck's sake. But like, it's just so like, they just want something. It is aggressively perpetuated. Every time I'm live, as I said during the day, someone comes in and goes, I'm really confused. I've posted my Twitch link in like 200 different Discords. I watch everyone else. I support everyone else. How come they don't come watch me when I tell them I'm going live? And I go, because they don't have to. Why are you doing content that way? Who gave you that advice? And why are you listening to that? Like, that is the worst advice I've ever heard. Constant.
It's they don't understand that there's also a thing of like, this is probably a bad analogy, but there's always a thing of like paying your dues. And I'm not saying that you do have to pay dues or anything like that, but I think there is the fundamental principle that you can't just start streaming and then get everything that you wanted or everything that you hoped for within the first few months. You know what I mean? Like let's do a race to the end. You do have to build up a rapport with people. You have to let them be part of your personality. Let them see what your stream has to offer, because yeah, you can do it for a few weeks and you're like, man, this is easy. I'm really good at this. Definitely, for sure. But try holding that up for a few months, years, because that's how you're going to make those lifetime members. That's how you're going to make people come back. You can't just be this like, I'm going to do it for a few weeks. I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to be back for a few weeks. You have to actually commit if you want to make it a career. If you're doing it for a hobby, for sure, go for it. No big thing. But just realize that you're not going to have as many viewers watching you because you are so sporadic. And that's a big piece of advice that I was given, is that, oh yeah, just, stream the big games, which I think everyone always goes, just stream the big games and you'll get found one day and you'll make it big, which obviously is never going to happen. Yeah.
One day
They'll find me with my 3 viewers down the very bottom of PUBG or whatever the frick it is, and I'm going to pop off.
So old. PUBG. Yeah. You think PUBG is still a thing?
PUBG Mobile is huge at the moment. Have you seen PUBG Mobile? My God.
But not... Yeah, for children and overseas where they don't have PCs, they've only got mobiles.
That's what I'm saying. If you, whatever you do, whatever your go-to is, okay, I'll say the big one at the moment, LOL. We'll go LOL. If you want to stream LOL,
I'll allow it.
Yeah, you'll be at the bottom and you'll do the things. But I think the big thing that I want to say is you have to commit. You have to have a schedule. Obviously, you've got to say, I'm going to be live this day and actually be live. You can't just actually feeling a little bit down, but we've talked about this before, but just commit more if you want to make this an actual profession, more than a hobby.
Yeah. No, no one owes you shit. You can't go into this thinking that you deserve viewers straight away just because you followed some basic tips or whatever. No one owes you anything. You have to work hard and earn people's respect and earn their viewership, essentially,
and their time. They're taking time out of their day to watch you. And every day that I see people every day who come into my stream, the regulars who are there every time, on time, even before I start streaming, talking in the chat, it's like, oh my, I owe these people something, because I have given them, they've given me their time, and I've got to give them back this entertainment. So that's why I get this anxiety as well on top of it. It's I owe these people a lot. They're the ones funding me to do this. It's crazy. Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't. I said this in my, not last night's, but the video before. I think a lot of small streamers don't actually value their viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes I can fall into this as well in a weird way, where it's and it's because I've had big dips, and it's oh, I used to be this, why aren't I that anymore? And it's well, dude, you've still got 150 average people watching you who are there every time you go live. You couldn't go live for 2 weeks, then you went live and had 150 average with no raids. Pull your head in, right? That's massive. And but a lot of people sit there and they're oh, why aren't I bigger? Or why is this stream underperforming? And it's you had 60 people. It is, you owe it to them, right? You owe it to them. You need to actually value the fact that they are there. There are 60 people there, or 100 people there, or 200 people there, or whatever your number is, 10, 5, I don't care. You have to owe it to them, and you have to value the fact that they are there, because they could be watching Netflix.
Yep.
They could be watching Demon Slayer. They could be watching a movie. They could be out at dinner with their friends. They are maybe not that. There's Twitch viewers. Damn.
Write in the comments below if you agree with LJ's answer.
I'm with you. I'm one of you, the common man.
The common man. Okay.
How much is a carton of milk?
$2.50. Unless you get it on Uber Eats, and that is $6.50.
Yeah. Okay. He passes the test. He passes.
Yeah.
$6.50.
None of that no name shit though.
Farmers Union for life. Yeah.
But seriously, I think a lot of people are I value them. I appreciate they're there, and I'm well, if you feel if you're sat there and you're not putting your best content on because you've only got X number of viewers, you don't. Yeah. That's a really hard thing to listen to and to take into account. But as I said this in not last night, but the Weebix 4 video, and I said in it, if you are sat there and you're I won't do a big piece of content like Point Crow Small or Call Me Kevin or Ambiguous Amphibian, I won't do a big piece of crazy wild content like them because I've only got 5 average viewers. I've only got 10 average viewers. I shouldn't do it now. Well, then you're inherently saying that you will not make good content for people unless you already have a big audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that is backwards. It doesn't work. You have to make high quality, amazing content and value the people who want to watch you, even if there's 0. Yeah. You have to value that to the people who could find you time. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, well then, you legitimately, the only way to look at it is you just do not value the people who are going to watch you.
Yep.
Yeah. To like add on to that really nicely is like we've talked about, and like LJ's mentioned, like, yeah, Point Crow, like, you know, he was making those types of videos back when he had like, you know, 20 average viewers, right? When he was really small. And so a few weeks ago, I came up with my own idea, like seeing the smash or pass stuff for Pokemon around, and I came up with my own spin on it called Fight or Flee, where I was going through Pokemon, deciding if I could fight it or if I'd have to run away. And we filmed that on stream, like I, you know, paused, hidden all my alerts, and stuff like that. And people were great. They were pretty respective of like not putting, you know, redemptions up and whatever. And we started pretty soon after the stream started, and, you know, obviously, you know, the number was still growing because I had only been live for like, you know, 15, 20 minutes. But by the end of it, like, and I was pretty focused on, you know, making that content because I knew that I was making it for YouTube. And I was like, I don't care whatever's happening. Like, I'm making this for YouTube, taking moments that like I can look over to chat and whatever. And then obviously we can, you know, edit that out and post if it's not contextual to the video. And that actually performed great. Like, people were coming in and enjoying it. I was seeing people pop in that like I hadn't seen in a while. You know, like there was new people coming in, like and like it was a really big hit. It like I didn't care that like I don't know, I wasn't starting the stream with 60 viewers or whatever. I just started. I knew that this, you know, piece of content was going to be used for YouTube, and it ended up just being a hit for everyone that was there. Like, all my regular community were really loving it. They were enjoying my overconfidence in the video, and then we essentially took that and we just kind of put that on YouTube. With a really good thumbnail, really entertaining video that was a nice, palatable 17 minutes. And yeah, it was great. So it's like, you don't need to, just because you don't have a lot of viewers doesn't mean you can't make that great content. It doesn't mean people won't be enjoying it when they're tuning into your stream. Like, they're saying, oh wait, what's this? This is different. This is cool, interesting. Let me go see what this is. And you'll probably end up making some really good content for the stream that night and then reusing it on other platforms as well.
Yeah, legitimately, it's massive. What you just said there is, I think you made content for the collective.
Yeah,
legit. That's what it sounds like to me. Is like you weren't there actively trying to engage with every individual. You were there making content for the collective, which is perfect for keeping people engaged. Because everyone, even the lurkers, can take that content.
Yep, that's it.
That's my big takeaway on all of that. Another big piece of advice I think early on that people always get given is play what you love.
Yeah.
Did I talk about this last week?
We've talked about it before, but we need to reiterate: play what you love.
Oh,
because
I said this. No, I know where this is. I said on stream. I said this on. I ranted about this on stream on Thursday night.
Right.
I saw a very large stream advice, just person saying, you just play what you love. No context, nothing else. They just said that anyone who tells you not to play what you love is an idiot. Don't listen to them. I have a caveat. I think if you tell people to play what they love without adding the context of, as long as you have some form of discovery, then you are setting them up for failure and you're selling snake oil.
Yeah.
This is my thing. If I sat here and said, just play whatever you want, play what you love, then people would be like, okay, I trust his advice. I'm going to go do that. But if they have zero discovery, then that advice, all you're doing is telling someone to waste their time.
Yeah.
Like if they want to grow, right? Everything I say is based on whether or not someone wants to grow. I'm not talking about hobbyists who don't give a crap about growing. Like I'm talking like people who are out here, they're asking, how do I grow? How do I grow? How do I grow?
Yeah.
And legitimately, I can't stand the play what you love advice.
Yeah.
Because it requires too much context and too much like extra padding to say, yes, do whatever you want. But if you're 1 in 15,000 people in the middle of Fortnite, then you need TikTok or YouTube or something else, right? You can't just go sit in that category and play and hope to be discovered, as we said a second ago. Yeah. And I think play what you love is a terrible piece of advice.
Yeah. It's very, very much the same. Sorry, Reapz, I didn't mean to.
No, you go.
There obviously for every situation there's always going to be outliers, and we acknowledge that there are always outliers, but absolutely, like, you need to really think about, am I actually going to get found, and are you putting in the extra work on top of that on other platforms to help that discovery? I mean, a friend of mine, his name is Taudan. He's a Minecraft streamer from Australia. He, to my knowledge, doesn't really do much external funneling. He is just purely a Minecraft streamer, and he grew to 150, 200 average viewers just doing Minecraft. and he streams about kind of our sort of like about I think 4 nights a week, 4 or 5 nights a week. But that's what he purely just played Minecraft, and you think, oh, Minecraft, massive category, like really hard to grow. And yes, but also I think probably he did like the best thing that you can do in that situation, where it's like not only was he putting on interesting Minecraft content, which was a bit different from the majority, but also he was actually just meeting the right, he was getting out there. He was meeting other Minecraft streamers and getting involved in that community, and he was able to grow. But yeah, like so
actual real networking like that, I consider more powerful than a lot of external funnels for a beginner.
Yeah,
like Shalaluya grew because he put a lot of work and time in, but also because he networked properly. I'm not saying the other person's advice. I'm like, he legitimately like went out and like actually engaged and supported and watched and grew his own content, and then approached people of his same size and said, hey, let's do a stream together, rather than just, can you raid me? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I think that's a big one. What was this person's name again? I'd love to look.
Towdan. So it's TOWDAN. Towdan.
Yeah.
Towdan.
I think it's a very pertinent thing, because there's a lot of advice that I think this is 2 pieces of advice that conflict with each other a lot. And that is, when you start streaming, there's people who say, stick to the one niche game until you grow to a certain amount of viewers or numbers, and then you can expand out. There's other people who say, do variety, because then you set yourself up for the future for being able to jump from one to the other without losing viewers when you do it. Obviously, those are 2 conflicting pieces of advice. And really, it comes down to the fact that, as Nick said, there's an exception to every single rule. But again, if we were to go back to what we said earlier in the podcast, it's what stream do you want to facilitate? Because if you are simply going for, okay, I want a lot of viewers, so I'm just going to stick to this game, even though I'm kind of over it. I know that I've got to do it every single time that I'm on stream. And if I vary outside of that, then I'm going to lose viewers. And then there's also the other take of like, well, I really want to be known as variety streamer, so I'm going to keep playing variety games. I know that I'm going to have dips because people don't want to see me go from, like, say, horror to Nintendo or something like that, which, happens to me as well. But it really is, you've got to stick to your guns and go, okay, this is what's working for me, and this is what makes me happy streaming. Because I think a lot of people, when they come into streaming, they think immediately, I'm going to love everything that I do, which is not the case. You can play video games, and we all love playing video games, but there's a big difference between playing it on your couch with snacks around you and going, oh, this is funny, I'm making funny jokes to myself, to actually performing in front of people with lights, with a camera, with a microphone, sitting up rigid, reading chat. It's a whole different gamut of things on top of things on top of things. So really, I would say that the worst piece of advice is to go for the one that you think is going to benefit you in the short term and not the long term. If you're in it for the marathon, definitely go, what's going to facilitate my needs better, and how can I institute it now rather than institute it 6 months in when I've been known for playing this one game. Really think ahead of like, okay, this is a part that I think will work. Obviously it's going to change, but really map out where you want to see yourself. That, I think, is a good piece of advice, rather than just flinging yourself in and hopefully something will stick to the wall.
It's a content strategy, right? And I think a lot of people misunderstand, right? Like, I give the advice all the time saying you should niche down. And people are like, I don't want to play one game. And I'm like, no, you're not listening to me, right? Like, it's like, I'm not just saying play one game. I'm saying pick a topic or a niche. And like, one of the things I always push and always talk about is the fact that, like, when people hear variety streamer, they think lots of different games, right? Play a different game all the time, play whatever you want. That's not what I classify a variety streamer as. I classify a variety streamer as someone who, sure, they'll play different games, but that doesn't mean they don't have a key demographic or a niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you looked at someone like Point Crow, they'd say that he technically plays lots of different games. He plays Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, he plays Hollow Knight, he plays lots of stuff, right? He's still a variety streamer. Yep. He does just chatting segments and everything like that, but he has a key demographic. He's niched to a demographic of challenges, speedruns, Nintendo, comedy. Those things are all a demographic that can come together and support each other, right? And so when I started out, I followed the rule of niche, but I understood that I'm still being variety. And the thing that I niched into was chat interaction, comedy, stories, gameplay that allowed me to bounce off it. XCOM has fun story that happens and evolves. Darkest Dungeon has fun story that happens and evolves. Chat interaction, all those things. Stardew Valley has fun stuff you can do. Like, Animal Crossing, Zelda, like all the games had a throughput. And one of the best throughputs for it was the fact that they're all games that I enjoy. I didn't go play a game that I didn't enjoy. Like I didn't go and play a game that is so aggressively outside my demographic just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
You know? And that's one of the big things is like what we said earlier about people reflecting their audience is that if you only just play a bunch of stuff that you enjoy, you'll probably realize that's your demographic, is that is its own little circular demographic. Unless you aggressively love playing Dark Souls and Stardew Valley, which in that case, that's a whole nother question about what you're going to do to split those audiences.
Yeah.
But like, that's my thing is I think people go, they get the advice of niching down wrong. They hear it and they go, I don't want to play one game. And it's like, no, you don't have to play one game. You just have to have some sort of consistency in the type of content you create.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you're dead on. I think there's also another way of phrasing as well. It's know your limitations. Because if you think about it, right, say you're really into first-person shooters, say you're into Warzone and that's the big thing, but you're not cracked at it. You're not like somebody that would watch you just for, you know, your amazing aim or, you know, your map awareness, things like that. Why would people watch you when they've got cracked people up the top? So if you can't fulfill that need of being cracked at this amazing game which people watch for, then what else can you bring to the table that they're like, okay, this is the reason why I'm watching? Are you going to do those fun little challenges where it's like, I'm going to go the pacifist route. I'm going to win Warzone without shooting a single person just by hiding. Is that your go-to? Is that like content that people would watch for? If it is, great. If it isn't, then maybe you need to pick a different game or a different niche, because again, it really does come down to the fact of what can you bring yourself that other people aren't bringing, because that's what's going to help you stand out more so in the long run.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we've said a lot on this podcast, and to just say it one last final time, the best way to be unique isn't the gimmicks, it isn't all the other stuff, it is to be yourself. That's legitimately it. Like, because no one will do you the way you do you.
Yeah.
Right. But everyone will do themselves better than they can do someone else.
Yeah.
So if you just be yourself, and you're probably thinking like, what about Dr. Disrespect? Well, again, rules break, but also maybe that is just a part of who he is, like holding a megaphone to a particular part of who he is, right? So I just think it's a really big thing. Just make sure you heavily consider that and heavily consider who you are and what you want to make. And don't misunderstand what we're saying about the fact that, you know, focus on something, niche down, niche into a demographic, and that demographic might just literally be you as your audience. Right?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, because it doesn't mean it's like, you know, even though like I like to play Rainbow Six Siege sometimes, you know, you guys might like to be massive into Fortnite. Doesn't mean that you guys like, obviously you did, you know, there'll be like the one stream like Reapz played Fortnite the other day.
LJ seems offended.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean like, you know, that all of a sudden like, you know, you just start streaming Fortnite on the regular, because it's not a part of that core content type that we all create. And that was one of the stream sins, I guess you could say, that I did, was not fully understanding where my strengths were. And, you know, for about a 6 to 8 month period, I was playing Siege every single Sunday. So I was kind of, you know, targeting the kind of demographic and vibe that I wanted to hit throughout the week. But then, you know, Sunday came around, we did Siege Sundays. It was kind of like the little events, like Sunday, play some Siege, get the viewers involved. And it did okay for a while, but it wasn't allowing me to really, you know, kind of spread my wings into my core type of content.
Yeah.
And eventually we scrapped it. It's like no more multiplayer games. I strike, like I really am in my element when I'm playing a single player game, when I can just talk to chat whenever I want, when I can pause and then, you know, acknowledge a raid. Like those kinds of things really lend themselves well to the channel. And it took me a long time to realize that.
Yeah. It's a big strength to be able to do it. For me, as you say, Nick, a story where you can pause it. Because when it comes into the multiplayer games like Fortnite, like Warzone, or anything like that, if it's an online multiplayer game, you can't pause. There's a big event that happens. Somebody drops a big sub bomb. There's a big raid. I don't know, something's kicking off in the chat for whatever reason. You can't pause. Otherwise, it's like, where's the content go? Where does your loyalties land? People watching you for a particular reason. Another piece of advice that may be out of left field that I got was make moderators those who are the most active in your community. Now, I only say this because this is a piece of advice that a lot of people give, and it was a mistake that I made, and probably different to what you're thinking. So I had a really, I should say, what's the word I'm looking for? interactive member of the community. And I was like, this person would make a great mod. So I modded them. I was like, mod X person, right? X person then comes to me a few days later and goes, actually, Reapz, I just want to hang out in your chat. I don't want this added responsibility of looking after. I'm here as like a relief more so than some may consider it a job. And I'm like, completely understand. I'm so sorry for throwing you under the bus, thinking that moderation is the best thing that you can give an active user, as like, I trust you with this. But it was just an eye-opening experience for me to receive that back and go, I don't want to be a mod. I just want to hang out with you guys and do my own thing. But thank you so much for, thinking of me as, being worthy of a modship. Because everybody, all new, especially young chatters, think that mod is the be all end all, and they don't realize it can be the most stressful, boring thing. Yeah.
It sucks, dude. Modding sucks. Like at the end of the day, like you become this person who has to clean up the fucking filth, right? Like it kind of does. Like, yeah, a few people look up to you. They'll post pet the mod for the BTTVM mode every now and then. But like at the end of the day, you kind of lose the fun part of just hanging out in a stream, and suddenly you are there, like, having to deal with it all. I really agree on that sentiment. And like I said this the other night on stream as well. I don't think mod applications, and maybe I'm completely wrong here, I don't think mod applications are actually applications. I think as a content creator and a streamer, you know who you want to apply as a moderator.
Yes.
And the mod applications are just sitting there with your fingers crossed, hoping they apply.
It very much is like, I'm doing this as a fair trial for everyone, but you really know who you want in the back of your mind.
Yeah. But sorry guys, the 3 people I really wanted to become moderators didn't apply this time around, so I'm just not going to pick any of you.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, and that's the thing, it's like you feel that like you have to make it fair. It's like, it's your channel. Just ask the person that you want to mod. Like, do you want to mod? Do you feel like you can sort of add the?
Oh no, I would never do that. I would never do that.
You want them to beg?
Because it seriously is, because otherwise they feel like they're on the spot, right? Like I've had people say they want to. I've asked people and they've gone, yeah, I'd love to help out. I want to help out more. But then I've given them the extra role in the Discord, and then they've just completely stopped talking in the Discord because they feel anxious.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why did you accept it? Can I ask why you accepted it? And they said, because I really respect you and I like you and I wanted to help. But and you asked me, and it made me realize very quickly, like, yeah, 100%, like people want to help out and they respect me, right? It's the same as like, in a weird way, this is maybe a bit of a weird jump, but in the weird way, it's the same as like the Carson stuff where he flirted with one of his viewers, or like one of these people who flirt with their viewers. Is a lot of the time you have a lot of power over these people because they watch you like 5-6 hours a stream. They really enjoy your content. They respect you. And so you ask them to do anything, and a lot of the time they'll probably say yes, even if they don't actually want to. Yeah. So like legitimately, like I would never reach out to someone and ask them specifically to be a mod. I would always do an application form. And just if they apply, awesome. If they don't, then like now I know. I would, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who would never apply, but if I asked them, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I think it's also like a paternal thing for me in regards to, I'm never going to mod somebody who's under the age of 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they should be focusing on their life, on, school studies or whatever it is that they've got going on. They should not be like, oh, my free time at night is to mod for this channel. I want them to feel like they can have me on in the background while doing homework or whatever it is, but I never would give them that responsibility of like, because now they feel this kind of kinship of like, I have to be there. I have to clock in and clock out. Otherwise, they're going to revoke my mod status. Like, it'll be anxiety inducing. I know if I was a kid and I had this streamer that I looked up to and they're like, I want you to be mod, I'll be like, yes, 1,000 times yes. And I would totally shirk my duties outside of modding because it's like, it's like you never met your hero type thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm actually modding for this person. And it's not fair on them. Like it's not fair on yourself as well. So when I do mod, it's people who I know of over a certain age and I'm already working a full-time job. They understand life in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I give them a modship and they're, just out of high school or about to go into college, it's like, I feel very uneasy about that. I should be like, go travel, go and I don't know, meet friends, be social and all that. Just have me on in the background. So yeah.
No, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
I really do agree. I think that at the end of the day, modding is very, very, very specific and very careful. And the kinds of people you add as mods, it's not just so they can help you out, but also you want to make sure that you don't make their experience worse. So I'm with you 100% Reapz on all of that. Like I'm super, super careful about it. And I think there are some people who apply for mod who are lovely chatters and lovely, amazing people. But a lot of the time I've rejected them because I think that it would ruin their experience as a chatter.
Yeah. Agreed.
And if they no longer want to be a chatter and they're no longer be in the chat, then they're not going to be able to mod.
Yeah.
Yep.
I completely agree. This is another tangent as well, but I felt like a kind of sense of something that's good and bad, like negative emotions with positive emotions at the same time. So obviously with this podcast that we've been doing, been giving advice and everything like that. And I've noticed that some of my regular chatters aren't as prevalent or aren't as prominent, I should say, in the chat anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, have I said something, because you're in the back of my mind, like, have I said something that they think I was talking about them regarding on the podcast? We've all experienced this as well. But no, they have had that inkling to start streaming themselves. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like it's this thing of like, holy mackerel, these regulars who always used to say hi to me at the beginning of the stream, I'm like, oh, they're not there. And you know it. You're like, oh, usually this person's here. But they've been streaming themselves like around the same time that I do it. I'm like, if I gave them any type of inkling to do this, it's like, yes, please go for it. Like right now, if we've given you any type of like, go get them attitude, that makes me feel so happy that this podcast is actually having an effect on people. It's like, yeah, I'm going to give this a shot. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another piece of advice as well, is don't feel like, if you have duties to other people, say you're a moderator of another channel, say that you, I don't know, a part of this community, but you yourself want to stream, but feel like you can't because it's going to conflict with this person, I think we'd all be happy to say, do what's best for you. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to take it as an insult or like competition or anything. I'm happy that you're giving it a shot, because that's what I did. I know I was helping other people out in streams. I was in part of people's communities, and I was like, I want to give this a shot myself. And I did. And it's such a nice thing to know that you will have the support. Because if they don't give you support and they're like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You just know that they're an awful person. So again, like don't value a streamer's opinion, or don't value a streamer's kind of sentiments as gospel, is another big piece of advice I would give. Like that's the only way that you can do things.
Yeah.
Hold them accountable.
Sorry.
No, you go. I was just saying hold accountable.
Yeah. No, I did that. Like I like kind of became a regular Twitch viewer when I was like 18. So like for an entire year, I was like a hardcore Twitch viewer, and I was also like modding for people as well. And then when I started streaming, I streamed on the off nights of my friend who I was modding for, because I was like, I want to still be at his streams and be able to mod and stuff like that, but I wanted to start myself. So yeah, I just streamed on the off nights, because I felt like I had to, had that obligation to be there. So I definitely feel that you just got to do whatever's best for you.
Yeah, do what's best for you.
Yeah, I think one of the classic ones, I guess you could say, is like bad advice people have given in the past is anytime you're not live, you're losing losing potential discovery. Stream like 6 nights a week or 7 nights a week or something crazy. Like,
no,
well,
faster. Yeah.
Devin gave that advice, and I followed it, and it fucked me. Devin said, if you're over 100 viewers, you're at the situation where you're able to go live and stay live, and you'll have more discovery by staying live because you've broken through that. And I was like, I need to take this advice. Okay, I'm going to take this advice. I'm going to stream more. I added more to my schedule. I streamed longer. I did all those things. You know what happened? I lost another 30 average viewers, 40 average viewers, and I was putting less content out on YouTube. It's like, and I get that Devin was saying like, different things technically, but the advice was, if you're over 100 viewers, you're at the point where you can stream more, and that's fine because it's a kingmaker system. And it was his way of criticizing Twitch's system, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Twitch has a bad system. But 100 average viewers is not a kingmaker, is not ready for the kingmaker system. And I really value Devin Nash's opinions, right? There are a few times I disagree with him. Like he says that channel points, there's no evidence that channel points help you grow your average viewership. That's 100% bullshit.
Yeah.
Like just be in any small streamer's channel, you can tell how much effort they've put in and how high quality the content can be with channel points. But he was trying to say don't accept affiliate, and saying that there's no data backs up the opinion, right? And then the only other time is him telling me to stream more because I was over 100 average viewers, or anyone over 100 average viewers, because it just that advice it doesn't work. It just doesn't work for someone like me and my content and what I want to do. And I think it doesn't work for the majority of people, actually.
No.
Unless those extra streams you're doing are also collaborations. Maybe if I added another 5-hour stream every week and that was just a collab where Reapz, me, Nick, and everyone was just playing Mario Party, maybe that would help me more.
We need to do that, by the way. Let's just pencil that in the Discord. But yes, continue on. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, easy. But like, I just feel like it's one of those things. Like, we sometimes take all of this advice and go with all these things, but the reality is a lot of the time it does not. It might not actually be applicable for you. And I try and give that a lot of the time. And in the ninja video is one of the things I pushed, right? Like, context is key, you know? And in last night's video, it's all about how you package your content. And I gave a reference or an example that someone told a creator I was helping that they didn't know who the character was in their thumbnail. They should use a more well-known character from the game. The guy wasn't making a piece of content about a game. He was making it about Hero Forge, which is where you make miniatures. There's no like one specific miniature that from Hero Forge that everyone knows because you're making your own, right? Like, that's like, and his was 5 beginner tips to using Hero Forge. And he was like, oh, I guess I'll try find a character that's more well-known. And I was like, no. You learn 2 things from this. 1, I know what Hero Forge is. I understood what your thumbnail was. That means that people who know what Hero Forge is, even complete base beginners like I do, will understand your packaging. It is accessible to your key demographic, aka someone like me who likes to go make miniatures. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then the second thing you learn is it isn't applicable, it isn't accessible to the greater world, right? So if this hits the front page, you're going to have less people being able to click it because they don't know what Hero Forge is and they won't click, right? And I gave him like 4 or 5 other examples and showed him 4 or 5 other people who have, you know, had big views from Hero Forge. And it's always stuff like they change it from Hero Forge guides to being like custom painted D&D figures for free or like online or like things like that have a much wider accessible audience to all of it, right? Rather than just this one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really big one, right? All of the advice you get given, all of the advice that you receive, you need to remember that context is key. Even my advice might not be applicable for you guys who are watching my videos and listening to that stuff. And I'm very open about that. I say that in the ninja stuff. I say it in last night's video. I say it on Twitch all the time. I say, this is what worked for me. This is what I've seen work for others. This is a rough guide. You need to put it towards your own content though. Like someone commented on one of my videos saying, after watching this video, I've gone and bought Stardew Valley because it looks like the category is really good for growth. And I wrote back to that person and I said, did you buy it because you like those kinds of games and think you can make good content about it? Or did you buy it because you desperately want to grow and you're doing anything you can to do that without thinking about your own content?
Yeah.
And they never replied because they never replied. But at least I was honest, right? Like, like, because if I went and clicked that channel, the vast majority, they probably are playing Apex and Fortnite most of the time. And then now they've gone, okay, this category, he talked about how Stardew Valley is a really welcoming category, which it is, you know, it still is. And then he's probably going to go play it and he's going to be like, I don't like this game and the content's not good. And then he may, and if he does like it and he grows to like 10 average, 15 average viewers, maybe he'll switch over to Fortnite and he'll lose them all.
Yeah.
And so take it all with a grain of salt, take it all with context, convert it to fit your content. That's why I always say to people, one of the biggest skills you can learn is critical analysis and self-critique. Because like, what you want me to come sit in your channel and watch you play Fortnite for 2 hours? What do you want me to say? I hate Fortnite. I don't care. Like I fundamentally don't know if what you're making is good content because I fundamentally do not like the content.
Yes.
Right. And it's my biggest issue with the ninja stuff is the people giving you that advice, they might not be your key demographic. Right. You know, it's like I personally, Nick, I like your stream, but I don't spend much time there because I know I'm not your key demographic. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I am looking for something different. Right. Reapz, I'll spend like 2 hours in your stream because I'll be sat there the whole time just being like, yeah, this is exactly what, this is everything on Twitch.
Well, that you want to annoy me. By the way, Nick, you're never going to believe, I just keep getting these fucking TTSs of saying boo and then ... / B. So every fucking time it's like, hey Reapz, just wanted to scare you, boo. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much for the 200 B. I'm like, motherfucker right here. And that was what started from Eljayem somewhere over here. You know what I mean?
I'm making you that revenue.
Yeah, you are making you that revenue. So it's a great thing. Also, I want to say as another big piece of advice that every fucking streamer will say to you, especially if you watch all the, you know, the YouTubes and shit like that, is that you need the best. We've said this before, you need the best camera to start streaming. You need the best microphone to start streaming because that's going to separate you from everybody else out there. It's just, it's like you will be on another level. Yeah, go and show us. Nick started with crappy internet. Whoa, look
there
at
it
that
is.
bat. Is that
There
an
it is.
anchor? Is that an anchor?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look at
This
that bad boy.
this was 20 Australian dollar dues for the microphone and the mic arm.
Damn.
That's
What,
right.
for the microphone and the mic arm?
and
the
the
pop
mic
filter.
arm. And the pop filter. Actually, no, I don't think it comes with the pop filter. I think that's a lie.
False advertising.
Oh, it does. It does.
Oh, there you
Filter,
go.
a microphone and an arm for 20 Australian dollars.
Yeah. I'm going to bust this bad boy out. And I'm going to be like, hey, guys, can you tell the difference between a $20 microphone kit or a... Like, I think my Shure was 600 AUD, my Go XLR was like 600 AUD, and the XLR, so like, and like a $1,250 thing. Can you tell the difference?
I guarantee a lot of people will not know. No,
They will not. A lot of people are gonna
idea.
be like, it's definitely this one because it sounds so much clearer. And I'm gonna be like, actually, that's the condenser microphone with the clearer sound and a little bit of noise reduction on it because you can't put noise reduction on a Go XLR properly.
That's right, you cannot. But yeah, I guess that's a big trap people fall into is when you see your big time streamers or your big time content creators and they're obviously spruiking HelloFresh or they're spruiking Elgato or whatever it is, you feel the need to be like, well, I want to be just like them, so I'm going to put all this money into something that I may not necessarily need nor want, especially when you start streaming, because I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, and obviously exception to the rules, but I feel like the go-to for every new stream is I need a stream deck. I need a stream deck. Even though I've only got 2 scenes, I need it. And for me, like, we didn't start with stream decks. Like when we started streaming, Nick and I think that came out like, I don't know, a year or 2 later, something like that.
Yeah, there was back in our day.
In my
we didn't have your
day,
fancy toys.
I used the numpad. Numpad on the side. I just hotkey that bad boy, and I still use it to this day because it's so much easier than reaching over, clicking on a button, and then, oh, did I actually click that button? No. With this one, I'm just like, boom, it's right there. It's so much easier for me to swap back and forth. But yeah, I guess the big thing, as I've said, is just really don't give in to that. You've just got to go live. You've got to go live. Check out the micro. As long as they can hear you talk, like I think, would you agree with me here, is that I think audio is a lot more important than visual when it comes to streaming.
70% I reckon is audio.
Yep. Because if you hear like a crackly mic or like a like that type of thing, it immediately puts you off.
That was a very good impression.
That was very
that
good,
sounded exactly like everything I've listened to that I hate.
What can I say? I'm a professional. But we see it a lot in Twitch. Like we love our secret kind of thing that we love doing over here at the Discord is going on to the Reddit subreddit rather /Twitch. And because there's always a lot of
ideas goes to die.
Thundercrack here, Reapz for the future. Boom. There's always the same 3 big threads that happen there. It's like, what should I do to grow? There's this, have you heard about this new feature? Should I use it? And then there's one about, just have fun streaming. Those are the big 3, I think, on repeat meta things inside there. And a lot of them is always people arguing for or against what you should use. So don't use Streamlabs, use OBS instead. Don't use, friggin' Audio Technica, always use Shure or Elgato or something. There's always this like, it's like watching Xbox fanboys versus PS fanboys, and it's like, why not both? You're sitting there going, why not just use the one that works for you? It's this real like diehard community where it's everybody's fault but their own. For some of them, they're the ones that get the most comments and the likes and everything. But it really bugs me that they're like, you have to do it this way, otherwise you will never grow. And this is coming from somebody who's only got like, say, 10 average viewers. They're the ones giving advice. It just seems to be this big echo chamber.
Oh yeah.
It's and that's what I was saying. Like they just repeat advice they heard, and then without context, and without the context, it just becomes bad advice.
Yep. It's that. I think that's another one as well. Is yes, you may go to some websites or you may go to some coaches that are like, you have to do it this way. But just know, as we've said, there are exceptions to every rule. So if it doesn't work for you, figure out a way that it will work for you, because you may be listening to us and going, well, it's easy for you to say because you've reached these numbers. And, as much as we'd like to go, this is how we reach those numbers, it's going to be different for everyone, because some people did it through networking. Some people did it through external services. Some people did it through just hopping on a game early. Some people did it through being on Twitch early. There's no specific way that you can get to the top. It's going to be a different journey for everyone. And again, the way that you will hopefully succeed more than others is the longevity that you have here. Because if you do it and you burn out so quickly and you hate going live and you're just not looking forward to it, but you feel like you have to, then obviously you're not going to have a good chance of making it because you don't want to do it. But if you put in those fundamentals right now of this makes me happy, I enjoy doing this, I've done a new scene, I'm going to show that off on camera, you know what I mean? Isn't that what's driving you to go back? Because that's why I know that I've done it for 5 years. That's why I know Nick's done it for 6 years. That's why I know Eljayem's going to do it for multiple years as well, is because we have something that we like going back to and going, we can improve on this. But a lot of people go on thinking, I need these results. I didn't get those results. I'm just going to quit, focus on something else. And that's fine. If it doesn't make them happy, do it. But really, you have to like stick to it. There is no overnight success. Unless Shroud or Ninja or whatever is like, this is my new best friend, I'm going to promote them every time that I'm on. Chances are it's going to take you some time as well. Yeah.
Can I add a misinformation issue as well? Because we're on the topic of our Twitch misinformation.
Yep.
Last night in my video, I said, I was referencing the fact that Ludwig uses Mozart's Requiem. And I said, it's incredibly good at adding stakes and drama to a scene, but it's also incredibly copyrighted, right? And I didn't think I needed to explain this, but I've gotten like multiple comments, including a comment from someone who has 390,000 subs on their channel telling me, it's public domain, you can use it. And I'm losing my fucking mind about this because do these people not realize the song is public domain,
but
the orchestras who perform it are copywriting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's like, dude, these people are so much misinformation gets spread out there about DMCA, music, so much shit. I don't understand how you can go, excuse me, Mozart's public domain. I can use anyone's performance of anything ever with that song. What the fucking... Like, is that like what? That is so okay. I'm gonna go call the New York fucking symphony and say, hey guys, I'm gonna use your performance of Nutcracker in this video I have about music about the Christmas, and you can't do anything because Nutcracker's public domain now.
Yeah,
blood boil.
Yeah.
So I guess like a little lesson on public domain. It's like it's only the original piece. Is that correct, LJ?
Yeah.
For like public domain, the original piece that was made, that specifically is public domain, not performances of that song.
Basically, it's like Shakespeare, where you can. This is a good analogy. So for Shakespeare, obviously, hundreds of years, you can use that play. You can show the play on the screen. You can read it out. You can do everything like that. But if I was like, here's the Sydney Theatre Company's version of Romeo and Juliet, and I just broadcast that. That's obviously money that's going away from them because obviously people pay tickets to see it. It's their production, it's their set, it's their sound design, it's everything like that. It's a rendition of that original piece. So when people go, this is a DMCA-free music because it was made back in the 1600s, yes, the music, the actual orchestral score, definitely.
The notes on a piece of fucking parchment.
Paper, that is free. But the person who actually did the recording, who made their rendition of it, that's their property. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, so this is just like the misinformation around DMCA is one of the biggest ones. Like people like for the longest time. And I think that content creators, I'm not going to name names, but there are 3 content creators in the streamer space, in the education space. And I think that they are the major reason why DMCA was handled so badly in the Twitch space over the last 2 years. I think 3 different content creators with huge followings spread aggressive misinformation about DMCA. And by doing that, it meant that a lot of small streamers, even to this day, still have no idea what DMCA is and still blame Twitch.
Yeah.
I think even big streamers, even Mizkeef and other guys like that, all blamed Twitch specifically for the DMCA issue, despite the fact that DMCA, the rules have been the same on Twitch since day one. Safe harbor. You're not supposed to play any of it. If you do, that's on you, not Twitch's fault. You can't do that. That's what VOD muting's for. That's what all these things are muting it for.
Yeah.
But when the DMCA strikes all rolled out and everyone's like getting upset, the only content creator who actually stood up and was fucking honest was Gaming Careers. So Pete from Gaming Careers made a video about DMCA where he starts and goes, DMCA is not Twitch doing it. DMCA is a really important thing that exists in the music industry. Twitch has safe harbor, like explained it all legally and real, like real, proper. Every other video was your favorite stream is being banned because Twitch is sending out DMCAs and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's because it makes them more money. It makes them more money to do that. And I legitimately, like, it's fucked up, dude. And there's so much misinformation and wrong advice about DMCA and music. And it's like people are like, oh, it's not fair. You know, this stuff's not fair. Twitch is being rude. No, just don't broadcast what you don't have rights to.
Yeah.
Why you don't use my content? I won't use your content. I won't copyright strike you. You won't copyright strike me. Easy.
Yeah.
I think Devin also made a video about like similar to gaming careers where he's just like, this is the law. You guys are breaking it. Like you guys are being punished for what you were doing. This is not Twitch's fault at all. I mean, they probably should have been enforcing it better.
Mm-hmm. No, they can't, because safe harbor means they can't.
They can't do anything.
So safe harbor, the way it works is they are saying, hey, you can use our service, you can use our systems, but you are agreeing that you will not use someone else's content, break terms of service, and do these things, right? You will not do that. And if they take any kind of action to enforce DMCA outside of it, then they get in shit. Yep. They suddenly are setting a precedent that they are the ones who will monitor and look after this. They break safe harbor, and that means that every single person who uses DMCA material on Twitch, it is now Twitch's responsibility to handle that, which is clearly very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And if they set that precedent, then that means that they are liable to be sued by every single fucking person out there whose copyright has been stolen.
Yeah.
Whereas safe harbor says, you, the content creator, promise you are doing the right thing. And if you don't do it, that's on your head when the DMCA strikes come in, not on us.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
So and so this is one of the things as well. Devin made a video months and months and months after the DMCA stuff died down, right? But during the height of it, I actually think a lot of his videos added to the fuel of the fire.
Yeah.
I legitimately, I do. I think he did his best to explain it, but I think he did what a lot of content creators do. They run the assumption that people watching have all of the same context and backstory and information.
Yeah.
And it caused people to misunderstand and think that it was something else, but it's not.
I think this also falls into another piece of bad advice, and that is push the envelope. And I think a lot of big streamers are accountable for this, especially during the whole MasterChef craze or watching animes, going, we're going to keep doing it until we receive notice that we shouldn't be doing it, to see how far we can push these boundaries, because that has a trickle-down effect. And I think we've talked about this in a previous podcast as well. But I feel like a lot of creators, their ideology of standing out is doing things that are just, irreprehensible. They're just terrible things to do. And they only benefit one person. That's the first person to do it, to show that their envelope pushes and everything like that. And when it came to that time when basically the big streamers were just watching whole series of MasterChef, whole series of, as we said, animes and things like that. And everyone's like, why are you doing this? Why? And it's just like, because they have enough money that they don't really care, And if they get banned, that's a holiday for them. And when they come back, they're going to have twice the viewers, twice the viewers. They're going to play the victim of like, DMCA took me down and I couldn't stream for you guys. And that's the only reason why I couldn't stream. But that's why they did it as well. I feel like some of them had a thing of like, I just want to take a break. And I'm going to do it by, really being that forefront, that figurehead of this movement against the tyrannical people who own the rights to the songs, even though they're losing money. Like, it's just a weird back and forth of pushing the envelope to the extreme that you become toxic and your community becomes toxic. That's a big one for me.
Yeah. Dude, the toast stuff made my blood boil.
Yeah. I remember us chatting about this in Discord every single day. It's like I was watching the whole of Avatar, The Last Airbender or something like that.
He was watching all of Naruto and all of Death Note.
Oh, that's
right. He got striked watching Death Note, live striked and banned, right? And then he tried to pretend it was like he throwing it all out there, he did a real fucking dick move. And he pretended that he striked himself to prove a point.
Yep.
Right? And he said that he got Lily Pichu to strike him, right? And that made all of Lily's fans be like, wait, we thought Lily's music, which it is safe to use, it's called Comfy Beats. It's actually some of the best music. We thought it was safe to use Lily. We'll quickly, everyone turn it off. Stop using her music. Stop using her music.
Yep.
And Lily was like, hey guys, he asked me to do it. I said, no, my music is safe. Not sure why he's saying I did this. Had to come out and be like that. Yeah, because he asked her, he said, can you strike me? And she was like, maybe, I guess. I don't know if I want to, because I don't want to do that, because that's like illegal technically, and it feels weird. And he was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then he got real striked, tried to pretend like it was fucking Lily, right? Pinned it all on her. She had to tweet out that it wasn't her because people stopped using her music and panicking. She got a huge fucking outcry of it.
Yeah.
I had people commenting on me because I've told people to use Comfy Beats before, being like, you've told us to use Comfy Beats, it's not safe. I'm like, it is. This guy's a dickhead being like, I'm not saying he is in general. I'm just saying he's being one in this situation.
Yeah.
His take on this situation was poor, to say the least.
He refused to back down. He pushed and said, no, it was I DMCA'd myself. I DMCA'd myself until like 2.5, 3 weeks ago, where Ludwig's in a call with him and says, look, I just need you to be honest with me. Be straight up with me. Did you DMCA yourself or was it real? And you see him. He hesitates for like so long about how he can pitch this and how he can. He's like, that was real. Like he really struggles to just admit it. Just admit you fucked up, dude. And he got so much like praise and views and love for doing all this shit. And he threw Lily under the bus, and he lied to a bunch of people, and it was fucked up. It was legitimately like a terrible take, and I think the industry was worse for it.
Sorry, Reed,
it's annoying. No, I was just saying that you're dead on the money. It was so frustrating because it paints streamers in such a terrible light. I know a big advocate who's an Australian advocate is I'm Fall from Grace. She's the one that keeps like putting on Twitter. Please remember, even though the DMCA thing has all died down, I still see people using copyrighted music in their streams thinking that because it's died down, we're going to be fine in the future. It's still really poor because when you think about it, say you hit it off and you have an available sponsorship that comes to you and they go to check your previous VODs and there's these huge segments which are red because there's no audio on there. They're going to be like, oh, well, we obviously want our, brand to be known with people who obviously adhere to the laws and can actually watch the VODs and realize that this is a brand for us. But, oh, wait, it's muted out, which means they can't hear this stuff. It really does show a poor approach on your behalf. I made a terrible mistake when I did my rebrand. I thought that I was using one of the songs that was DMCA free. And it wasn't until I checked my VODs that I saw a red thing. I was like, oh, shit, I got that completely wrong. So I changed it. I changed it over to NCS and Monster Cat to fix it. But I know how bad that could look. If I had a sponsored stream for Arnott's like a week or so back, whatever it was, if I still had that same music, because what you don't know is you have to highlight your sponsored streams to show that this is proof that I did the sponsored streams and I adhered to all the rules and everything like that. There's many things you have to jump through, which is obviously understandable. They're paying you to promote their things. If I had that music on at the beginning, I would have been in breach of contract. And that is such a terrible thing to have on your record that, but just, I understand that it's not in the foresight now, but it will be. I remember there was that whole exodus when the DMCA thing happened. People like, I've got to wipe out all my VODs, all my clips. And there were now programs that you could download to delete everything of your past. All of your career, everything that you helped accrue is now gone because you used a song that could get you in trouble in the future. Yeah. It's a time, and we got to remember to keep obviously, hopefully adhering to it. If you want to go out on a limb, go for it. I mean, who am I to stop you? But just know that what does go around sometimes comes back around, and it may be worse for you in the long run.
Dude, legitimately. Yeah. I didn't delete any of my clips because I had been very, very safe with all of my music since day one, right? Because I've been content creation for years. But like, I know people who to this day still try and say things like, I've split my audio. None of my audio is saved to my VOD. None of my music is saved to my VOD. I just split it all. You're thick as shit. Like legitimately, like if you honestly believe that is what's going to save you, you're thick as shit. Like I don't give a crap about the fact that you've turned your music off for your VODs. There have already been proven live strikes. It's different to visuals as well. You can live strike audio way easier, and giant creators like Ludwig and Devin and all these people have openly talked about how they know and have spoken to industry professionals and know that live strike technology is being developed and being made. It's not going to hunt down all the tiny guys, but I'll tell you what, if you get to be like, maybe you're not even splitting your audio, right? But maybe you get to be like 500 viewers, average viewers, right? And suddenly someone does roll out all those strikes for your muted VODs, or you're still using that music and the live strikes finally start picking you up one day. You're going to get a fuckload of strikes from a fuckload of people in instant. That's it, right? Like if they run another roll of DMCA strikes, right? Let's imagine that. So let's say I've been using whatever music I wanted. All my VODs are half muted here and there, whatever it is. If the music that I'm using, suddenly the guy likes to say, hey, we should probably check this Twitch thing out. It seems like a lot of our songs being picked up. Maybe we should run some DMCA strikes out there. Every single time my VOD has been muted, every single time across all of the Twitch backend, even the VODs have expired, they're still on the back end. All of those, boom, get picked up. I get a strike for every single individual time I have used that song.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many strikes it takes for your channel to be deleted off Twitch without questions asked? 3. That's it.
Yep. And
that's literally it.
And you also hear about the people that do get striked and they do get banned, indefinite bans, and they don't know the reason for it. Because don't get us wrong, Twitch, ANZ, love them. Twitch overall, they have a bad report in terms of getting back to people on why they were actually banned. Because sometimes it's just like a blanket bot statement saying you were banned and you will not be, getting your channel back and everything like that. Now, obviously they can reverse that, but there are times where small time streamers who don't have those partner, ambassadors that can help you with that, you're in a big queue. You're going to be out of work, or I should say without a channel for weeks, if not months, if not forever, if you don't know the right connections to obviously check in on and go, why was I banned again? And if it does come down to live strikes, you don't really have a defense there. Because you signed that contract. You signed the affiliate contract or the partner contract, whatever contract you have that says safe harbor. If anything happens, it's on your head. We give you the platform. You use it how you will. I remember, I am going to say that this is a funny time for the simple fact that I remember, which I think is genius, but is very bad.
Oh boy.
This guy played UFC 3.
Oh.
He played UFC 3 like this with a controller, but he was live broadcasting a UFC pay-per-view. So he had like thousands of people watching his thing, and he's like this with a controller as freaking, I don't know, like George Masvidal or something was live, and it was just a live rebroadcast of UFC, and he's pretending to play a UFC game. And I was like, at least he's got the balls to do it. That to me is like, you deserve some credit, but my God, he was banned.
I'm going to do now is I'm gonna put up an episode of Naruto and hold the controller. But guys, look, this new Naruto game, isn't it great?
I'm controlling the subtitles. It's crazy.
You got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
So yes, everyone. Again, this is one of those things. Everyone constantly says this, and it's because it's true. Which has been very bad at giving reason for bans. Okay, very, very, very bad at giving reasons for bans. But credit where credit's due, clearing up the misinformation. They have rolled out now that if you receive bans or strikes, you will receive an email that says why.
Yes.
So it'll say what VOD caused the issue. It's very recent, like last 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Yep.
It'll send an email saying what VOD, what time code, and why. And it'll allow you to appeal it if you want from the email. And they are getting better at doing it.
Yes.
So I think that is a really big thing. I think a lot of people constantly say Twitch sucks because they don't help you out. They don't do these, they don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And I think a lot of those people will still say that even if you gave them this position, because it's not about disliking Twitch at that point. It's them just being salty and angry.
Yeah. I think like a lot of people like to say like, oh, Twitch isn't doing enough and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I think that like it's very clear, like what the example we just mentioned about what they're doing now. I think there's stuff that is happening behind the scenes. It's just it's just taking a lot longer than I guess anyone would probably like for things to be rolled out. And that could be for any reasons. We don't know the inner workings of Twitch. We don't know what's going on in there, but it does seem like they are seeing these things happening, these issues and whatever, and they're working on things and solutions. It's just taking a long time to implement that. And when you think of how big this platform is and creating those systems and things like that, you can understand how long it takes. And even just the approval process to begin implementing or creating a solution would take its own amount of time. So it's good that they rolled that out. I think I saw recently as well, before this VOD thing, excuse me, before this whole VOD thing was in the email about the banning or whatever, they would actually tell you which part of the TOS you had broken as well. They'll say like, yep, you breached, the sexual harassment policy or whatever it is, or this and that. Like, they actually give you which part of the TOS you broke to give you some inclination of what you did that got you in trouble.
And you can appeal it because you're like, I actually didn't because of X, Y, Z, or, hopefully you didn't break it. But yes, I should say, obviously, we're kind of running down on time. We're nearly at the 2-hour mark. So would we say there's any final pieces of advice that we've been given? Bad advice that we'll go, you know what? Especially, I think it's more for new streamers, because once you've done streaming for a while, you kind of get to know what works, what doesn't work, and listening to these podcasts hopefully help. But when you're first starting out, I'm just imagining this is a first podcast or a vodcast, whichever one they're watching, and they've clicked on it for the sole reason of terrible advice that you know is going to be really bad for you in the future. Would there be any that stands out more so than others that are known as kind of the go-tos of streaming?
I think I've given the ones I just like the most.
Yeah.
The go be fake and try be fake and make friends to get views, or the make content that you don't want to make, you're not passionate about. I think one of the big ones for me is I see a lot of small creators who have 0 views, 0 to 5 views. And they decide that they see someone like myself, a Harris Heller, and they think the way to grow, and I'm not going to mention the third person, but a third person did coaching and advice, and they actually gave the advice to do this. And they go, I'll do advice as well, and that's how I'll grow. And they try and give just regurgitated advice from Devin or from me or from Harris or from someone like that. And it doesn't work, and it actually ends up being really bad content, lacking context. And they make these videos about it in an attempt to grow.
Yeah.
And I want to throw it out there. I didn't start Stream Scheme or content on Stream Scheme's YouTube channel until I had like 50 to 100 average viewers. Like I had a decent chunk of it, and then I didn't actually start creating content about growth until I'd had issues or seen growth or done these things, and everything's purely based on experience and stuff like that. And I feel like one of the weirdest pieces of advice I see all the time is, if you want to be a streamer and you want to make money in this industry and be sustainable, coach others. And I think that's really fucking weird.
Yep.
And I feel like it's weirdly also prevalent though. Like I don't know, man. If I tank down to 15 average viewers, everyone please stop watching my advice.
Yep.
Legitimately, like if I tank down to 15 average viewers and I no longer can hold an audience, you should not be watching me. 150, 100, I'm pretty confident about that. I'm pretty okay there.
Yeah.
But if I lose all my viewership and I can't maintain viewership, then you should literally not be watching me or taking my advice.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a really good point.
Yep.
And there's another one, and this goes without saying, like this may be common knowledge to a lot of people, but I feel like there are a certain minority out there who thinks that because I'm starting streaming now, and streaming has, going up and up and up in levels and peak viewership and everything like that, they feel that they're on the back foot. So they have to do something to make themselves be seen more. And this is so obvious, but I feel like it just has to be said. Do not do the thing of follow for follow, Viewbots, follower bots, so that you get like a reasonable following, reasonable viewership, so that you can be found. Because I guarantee you, people will call you out on that shit immediately, because they know exactly what's going on. They know if there's a random username with some numbers at the end saying something that's completely not related to what's going on in your stream, you're going to be found out, and you're going to obviously be terminated your contract with Twitch, and you have to start a new channel anyway. So don't go down that easy route of like, I have to get up to that level and then people will see me and they'll understand how good I am. I just want to take a shortcut. I don't have time to do a year of finding myself or finding what my niche is. I just want to get that viewership straight away. Do not go to those websites. Do not put your information in. They've got all your information now, and they'll keep sending you shit, and it'll just come back to haunt you. I just wanted to let that be known, that we've cast that aside.
If you really think you can get away with it, think about this.
Yeah.
When all of us are sitting around 100 average viewers, if our chat's quiet, we get accused of viewbotting.
Yeah.
Imagine what's going to happen if you got 0 fucking chatters. If we've got 3 chatters with 100 average, imagine what you're going to have to like legitimately, like the Twitch chatters are so sensitive, especially small streamers and other streamers are so sensitive to this. Like you'll see it on our Twitch all the time. That's the 4th big post, Reapz. Is the 4th big post of the 4 posts of our Twitch is literally, why does this guy have 200 average viewers and no one's talking? And everyone's in, and luckily Twitch has gotten better. Our Twitch has gotten better. Our Twitch is sitting there being like, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Why does it matter to you? Fuck off. Like they'll literally be like, leave him alone. Go away.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. So 100%. I'm with you there, Reapz. You'll get called out even if you're totally above board. So.
You will be called out. Yeah.
And also, if you are viewbotting, it's like it's easy to realize. Like, don't think you're pulling the wool over people's eyes. Like, everyone can. It's really easy to figure out. It
really is, especially when you get like 100 followers in the space of 2 minutes, because that's when you orchestrated to get those followers and something. They're not subtle. They're not going to do like, here's a few followers every few hours so it seems natural. They're just like, here's your 200 followers. See you. Peace out. You know, like.
Yeah. Or you know that you know how you do it. Reapz is like, you know, when you contest an alert on Stream Elements, it's like so and so rated for 1,000 whatever. You just do that right just before the follow bots come in, and you be like, oh my god, I've been rated by like, oh my god. Goodness.
Yeah, wow. But who was it? What's your go-to, LJ?
Booty Man 69.
Booty Man 69 has rated you with 1,000 people. Oh my god, I got a 500 follower. Wow, that's a conversion of 50%. I'm great at these raids.
You know, like, all these followers are coming in. Oh my goodness, the Viewbots are working. I mean, like the viewers are going up. Like,
my credit card info's through. This is great. I mean,
actually just spending that money buying an editor to actually edit your content.
That's what I mean. That's where my money goes.
It's like exactly. One last little bit of advice, and we've spoken about this briefly. And this one is about context, which is like, just start a YouTube channel. Just start a YouTube channdon't do whatever. But and we, you know, we've all LJ has drawn a lot of attention to this as well. Is that, you know, don't there's more to it. It's not just start a YouTube channel. It's just like you need to figure out what content you want to lend yourself to, and not just like, you know, not just put unedited, just random crap on YouTube and be like, yep, I'm doing it.
That's it. I'm taking all my VODs, because I know they only last 30 days or 60 days, whatever you have. I'm going to put it on this channel, and people will flock to it because they would love to watch 6 hours of me sitting in front of a computer without the best bits. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I mean, if you want it for like archival things, go for it. I'm not sure when you'll be able to have the time to watch over 200 hours of things that you've done, but, you know, go for it. Completely fine.
Yep, that's it.
So shall we move on to the Q&As, or is there any last bits that we should say?
No, I think that's fine. I think we can do Q&A. Sorry, I've been reclining. I've been enjoying this too much. So I've been slowly reclining.
Well, you've had an early morning, my friend. I mean, you must be slowly like, oh God. Are you feeling okay about everything?
It kind of sucks that the video underperformed. That's all. That's just it. Kind of sucks that happened. But it's a really good video too.
That's the thing. Like, but you know, it's out of your hands, and again, it's not like that's the be all end all. It's not like people aren't going to click on it now. You know that it was a reason, and then you fix that reason.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah,
I think it's just hard. It's just one of those things. But otherwise, I am good. It's gonna be a big day though. I got a lot of work today and tomorrow. But let's do the Q&A.
Yep.
We only have a few. We only got a few today, and they're gonna be fairly quick. One of them is from Jameric, who had left a lovely comment. But they wanted to ask, what was the very first thing you did with your Twitch payout? So you got your very first Twitch payout. What did you do?
Lends itself great to what Reapz was you guys were just saying about like hiring an editor. With me, I had been streaming for a couple of years, I think a year or so before affiliate came out. So I'd already kind of bought some equipment and that kind of thing, and I was kind of all right. And I'll be honest, I didn't really spend anything for a while. I just let it pool in PayPal. Technically, you could say that I bought, you know, a game with my payout, because that's just an expense. It's like I'm buying it to play on stream. But I didn't buy anything for ages, and I think the first thing that I genuinely spent money on with my payout was I bought I think it was like I bought the Go XLR. Like I think genuinely I think the Go XLR was the first like proper thing that I went and actually bought, because I had a lot of stuff like already. Actually either the Go XLR, or I think I'd been streaming for quite a few years, and I wanted to upgrade my I was using an AT2020, so my audio was fine, and I think I went and bought a camera to use, like to have a better quality camera. So I think that was technically the first thing that I spent my payout on, but that was after, you know, already streaming for like a couple, you know, two and a half years of already. So a little bit different to someone starting out now and getting affiliates straight away and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think it was just like, I think it was the camera.
Nice. I don't want to lie. I honestly don't know what I spent my first payout on. It just kind of like went into the bank account, and obviously, you know, you got bills, you got everything to kind of do. So, but what I do definitely have is now that I've separated, as some of us may have, I've done a different business PayPal for my Twitch thing. It's so much easier to do for taxes and everything like that, rather than putting it to the same account where you get all your income from. So I've gone it through PayPal, and all of my expenses that I do for paying video editors to do YouTube videos, for the equipment, for, you know, the scenes that I have, the graphical scenes, it all goes back into the stream itself. So if it's not going back into the stream, it just sits there. It's like a rainy day fund for me. It's like, okay, I just need this for the basics. I need this to improve my stream. And I think a lot of people find that trap of like when they have a good month and they get their first payout, obviously it's exciting. And definitely, you know, as they say on Parks and Rec, treat yourself. Go for it. Obviously, first payout's a big thing. It's like a promotion. Yay, I got that $100 and now I get the payout. Nice. Get yourself a meal, everything like that. But just think of the future and how you're going to thrive on that and obviously expand it. And that could be obviously cameras, that could be microphones, it could be emotes, it could be graphical components. But what is going to help out you in the future? Because we talk a lot about collaboration with other streamers, but I would dare say it's nice to also collaborate with VFX artists, with editors, with people that can grow your brand. A marketing director is always great. Somebody who knows an oversight and like, okay, we could really be focusing on this, that, and the other, because it will. This does become a brand after a time. And I think it's a very strong thing to know that you can make an income out of streaming or content creation in general, but you have to be valuable with your money. If you're just going to spend it on whatever, I'm not going to say that, you know, bills are not, definitely pay bills and everything like that. But if you've got leftover, maybe go, I'm going to buy this game for myself that I'm not going to play on stream, or I'm going to buy this ancillary thing that I'll forget about. Really focus it on putting back into what's going to make you better overall, I would say is a good tip. But to answer the overall question, I don't know. It was probably bills, probably some food. I don't really remember, but I definitely did invest in some webcams. And obviously you upgrade that, you get the Go XLR, you get another monitor. So I don't remember the first one, but probably food, knowing me. I probably was like, let's get some pizza tonight. Yeah, let's go. Let's get some pizza.
What about you, LJ?
I just put it all in my savings.
Yeah.
I just put it all in my savings. I'm not a fancy person. Like I get a big payout. Like I've got a sponsor currently that's going on the YouTube channel. It's my biggest sponsor I've ever had, biggest payout I've ever had. All of it is going directly into an account so I can pay tax.
Yeah.
I worked out my tax and I was like, okay, well, this is fucked. So cool, brilliant. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of being a content creator, I think.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep. A slight add-on to this question. What was something, like, since you guys have been gaining income from content creation, what has something that was a bit of a luxury? Like it was something you kind of bought knowing that you didn't really need it, but you kind of wanted.
I'm just going to look around the room to realize.
I don't think I've necessarily wasted money on anything. I personally
wasted, but just something that you didn't need it, but you wanted it, kind of thing.
No, I don't think I've done. I've been really careful about this. So I never had gas. So when you're a filmmaker, especially a young filmmaker at university, you meet a lot of people who have gear acquisition syndrome. And man, they are stinky people.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I personally never had gas because I didn't have money. But because of that, it taught me that when I started getting money, I didn't invest it into random shit that I don't need, right?
Yeah.
Like I got a couple different microphones. I got an AT2020, I got a pod mic, I got a Samsung Q2U over there. I've got the Rode podcast mics. I got all sorts of mics, right? But every single one of them has been purchased for a video and it's been used in a video, has been a tax write-off for a video, right? And the pod mic was so I could do it carefully. I bought a Go XLR when I wanted to go to XLR, and I bought a pod mic because I'd rather spend $100 on a pod mic and the Go XLR than spend $1,250 all at once to get everything, right?
Yeah.
I did small incrementations. I guess you could technically say the pod mic's not useful.
Yeah.
But, I'd rather do it very, very carefully and get to know these things. So I don't think I've done anything like that. I think the Stream Deck is, what you said earlier is pretty spot on. I think a lot of people buy the Stream Deck despite not needing it, but I didn't buy the Stream Deck. I literally for the first year and a half, I clicked.
Yeah.
I clicked everything. I just told tab, click, nothing was fine. I got to 100 average viewers without a Stream Deck. So fuck you. Right?
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Numpad or hotkeys.
I don't need it. I don't need it, right? Like I didn't need to do the numpad. I didn't want to have the extra thought. Just click, whatever, I'll make content. And one of the things was in a video, I talked about 5 pieces of gear that people waste their money on. And I said, like, small streamers buying a Shure SM7B without, like, they don't make YouTube videos, right? Like, what's the point? Or like all sorts of stuff. And at the end, I said, one of the ones will surprise you. And I said at the end, dude, I wish you didn't buy Stream Decks. I said, I bought a Stream Deck last week. I don't fucking need this. I bought it because I wanted to try something out. It's pretty useless. You get as much out of a Stream Deck as you're willing to put into it, and I don't fucking need it.
Yep.
I was gonna say the first 6 months, at least, maybe even the first year that the Stream Deck was out, it didn't really do much. Yeah. It's a very different product now than what it was when it came out.
There was no multi-actions. It was literally you just switch from scene to scene and you could play some sound effects. That was pretty much the go.
You couldn't even do sound effects on it.
Really?
At the beginning. Yeah. It wouldn't. You couldn't even do sound effects at the very beginning. It was. I think from memory you couldn't. I think that came out a little bit after. But possibly. It was the most basic thing ever. Like there was some stuff that you could do you couldn't do with like your hotkeys, for example. But yeah, it was for a long time. It wasn't much. It wasn't much, but it took a lot of time for it to get to being something like that's what it is today, which is a really cool piece of tech that's great for streamers if you can utilize everything that it offers. But if you're just doing if you just have a basic stream, you don't
need it. It's just, again, numpad for me. It's like you've got however many available numbers, or even the plus button, the minus button. I still use for my jump scare cam and everything like that. It's just so much easier for me. But I was going to say probably the thing that I usually like waste money on is more stuff that I need for like filming videos and stuff for my freelance work. So I got the my biggest spend was the Sigma lens. I think it's like a 12 to 22 millimeters, something like that. It's beautiful. It's like this wide open thing. I'm like,
that's a wide lens. Yeah, that's a wide. What?
Yeah.
Why do you need 12 millimeters?
That's the thing. It's 12 to 22, and I was just like, I want a wide lens because I was going to do like landscape photography and things like that. And so I wanted a wide lens, and that was like my go-to. Again, I don't use it as much. I'm definitely probably going to sell it. But at the time, I was like, I need this. I convinced myself, I need this. But I didn't need. That was probably
me staring at the A7S III for the last 4 days. Like, maybe I do need an A7S III.
Maybe.
Hasn't had to film contract work outside of his studio for 2 years.
I do love lenses.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Yes, more glass.
I was using a G7, and I used that for a long time as my camera.
Yeah.
And so for me, my little splurge was I was like, well, I do a lot of zooms, and I want to put on a good production, for content and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I bought the GH5 for dual purpose, not only so I could have a better camera to film content with, but because I wanted to be able to capture myself in 4K 60 so that when I do a zoom in, I'm a lot sharper and higher detail.
I want this beautiful face to be seen as it should be by the world.
That's it. Exactly. So I bought the Ava Media, capture card to be able to take in 4K 60, and I've got a camera that could do 4K 60 output as well. And yep, that was my little bit of splurge. Didn't really need it. But it had
Twitch compression and 6,000 bitrate definitely isn't meaning anything.
Yeah. But YouTube videos.
I did a bunch of tests on that. I turned my A7 III into 4K, turned it to 1080, ran it all, ran tests, showed everyone the files, showed everyone the clips, everything like that. And everyone came back and said they preferred the 1080. They preferred the 1080 60 to like the 4K 30. They preferred like all of it. Like they said everything looked too crisp otherwise, or like everything else, and like it was so annoying to me. I was like, oh, come on. Yeah. But also the other problem is that I think if you go to 4K on the A7 III, you go down to 8-bit, which means your color is a little bit less
skew,
flowy. It you get like banding in like the thing. So like this purple up here, when I change it to 8-bit, the banding up here, you can see it go from like dark purple line, lighter purple line, lighter purple line, line. And I hate that. I hate that so much. Like the reason I use the cameras I use a lot of the time is because I want the 10-bit because it's just cleaner.
Yeah. But that's why I love the GH5 because it does 10-bit.
There you go. Yeah. But I don't know. I think a lot of content creators pixel peep. But I think a lot of the viewers don't give a fuck.
They don't. Again, it's more audio, as we were saying. But the thing that I really like about cameras in general is just what you have now is that like the bokeh effect. You know what I mean? Like just that lovely kind of just out of focus, but still like, which I can't do in the studio, obviously.
Yeah, you just do what I do, fake it.
Fake it, yeah, that's the thing. But you're too good at that, Nick. I'm nowhere near your experience with VFX.
Now that's some fucking bokeh. They can't even see that on their version.
But you got to go bokeh. Like it's just like I just always imagine doing like that, but that's lovely.
Or Kai W, one of the Kai is, if you ever want to learn how to be a camera photographer or a videographer, go look up 2 channels, Digital Rev, but only watch their very old stuff.
Yeah.
Or go look up a guy called Kai W. Kai coined the term bokeh-licious in all of his guides, and every time he tested lenses and cameras, he'd always go, does it have that bokeh-licious? And he'd always do it. But like, that's one of the things. I think a lot of people always say this, I'm going to throw it out there. Mobile phones have ruined video, right? Mobile phones have made people dumber, right? Because people will use a mobile phone and they'll go, and mobile phones will give you like slight out of focus, right? But then people don't understand what a lens is anymore. They don't understand what a photo is. They don't understand how depth of field works, how f-stops work. They don't realize how these things work. And so they go, what filter are you using for that? And I'm like, it's not a filter, guys. It's not a filter. And they're like, yeah, but what filter? I'm like, it's not a filter. You say filter again. I'm coming to your house and I'm coming after you. I'm going to come after you.
Using Instagram Orange L84. Yeah.
And like NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA's like, out of focus, NVIDIA effects. And I'm like, NVIDIA, you have just helped humanity fall further and further into caveman-esque.
I'm going to say, I've seen that, and I see people using, the neural filter to like, either chroma their background that's not actually, that's not a green screen, or you blur it. It's not clean. Like it's jittery. It's edgy. It's like, no, I
just don't do it because I can't.
Digital blur has 2 major issues. One, I won't go too into, but I looked into it a bunch. The GPU computational power for real proper blur is disgusting. It's if you're in Premiere Pro and you drag camera iris blur onto a clip, it'll cost like fucking huge amounts more than just dragging Gaussian blur on 5 times. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just looks nicer, but because it looks nice, it's so much more expensive. And the second thing I've learned is just at the end of the day, it's just too much effort, right? It's just too much effort to do all this stuff digitally. It looks gross. Like it legitimately looks gross. If you try and live blur, you will fuck your entire CPU and it'll just look disgusting. It just looks so bad. You cannot mimic it, right?
Yeah.
And like people are like, people have added filters to blur green screens behind them. And I always say the same thing, like, why are you wasting your computational blur on that? Open Photoshop, blur the image, and then put it behind you.
Yeah, PNG.
Like, they're adding like 5% more fucking blur to their background because they're taking a photo and adding the blur in OBS.
Yeah.
But that's our buys. We'll do one quick last one. Okay, so question: how much attention do you give to trolls? This is from Breezy, kind of. And they want to know, do you sometimes feel like you're giving too much attention to trolls or people causing issues when in reality you should only be focusing on ignoring them, making good quality content, and allowing your mods to handle things quietly so it doesn't interrupt you?
This to me is like very multifaceted, but I'll be very quick. Obviously, you shouldn't focus on trolls at all. You should let the mods do what they do. However, if it somehow plays into your content, and you're doing a bit, and this person says something like, the other day I was doing that Arnott stream, and somebody came into the stream, as you do, because you're on the carousel on the front page, and they go, wow, Arnott must have been really reaching the bottom of the barrel to use this guy as a spokesperson for Arnott Shapes. And I was like, how can I turn this into comment? And I was like, well, that's flavor you can see. And then I moved on with it. You know what I mean? I used their thing as a kind of like to promote the shapes and moved on. Now, obviously it hurts. And the biggest thing that I want you to do is go on a heat of the moment reactionary thing so they get that reaction and they make you feel like crap and they're like, yes, I feel better about myself. So honestly, I try not to let it affect me. I'm sure there's been times, but most of the time I let my mods deal with it. There's moments where I see like messages being deleted and I always like click over and see what was being said because you're not
supposed to click it,
but I just need to know.
I click it as well.
I know, exactly. You just need to know. And then I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. And then you just move on. But yeah, my biggest advice, move on. Don't let them have your time. Obviously they're there not to be additive to the stream. They're just there to make you feel like crap. So I ignore it.
Pretty much the same. There's not much I can really add. It's like, you either let them handle it, ignore it, or if you can make a bit out of it, that is going to be entertaining. You don't want to spend too much time on it. Like you don't want to spend like 5 minutes doing a bit about it because then you're giving them that attention. But you do if you can in the moment think of something funny to play off of it, and then just like basically do a switcheroo, be like, hi, you came to troll me, I'm going to troll you back. Then it's entertaining, and then you move on.
Reapz, you've reminded me of my sponsor stream with Optus the other day.
Okay.
Right? Someone joins my chat.
Yeah.
And they start writing in all caps, Sims in my bum. right? Which is obviously being caught by the auto mod, because when you do a sponsored stream, the auto mod goes up to like level 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I ignored it because it's being caught. And then he goes, I like to put Optus Sims in my bum. And then he goes, my bum has an Optus Sim in it. It's all being caught, but he's trying to get around it. He's changing it every time, putting dots in and stuff like that. And finally, I just click and ban him because I'm tired of seeing it. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then his mate, who is a chatter of mine, comes in 3 days later and goes, hey, unban username. He didn't do anything wrong. And my mod said, if he's banned, he's probably banned for a good reason, but he can submit an unban request. And I said, and then the guy added my mod back and said, no, it's just because you mods are out of control. I'm the one who banned this guy, right? So my mod was like, look, if you're going to do that, if you're going to do this, you're not going to listen to us, sure. And banned the person who was blaming the mod, saying they're out of control. And then the guy gets his other friend to come in and says, wow, we looked up to you, making fun of small streamers, upset about some silly messages. Go fuck yourself. So I ban him. And then I pull all this up, and Nick, you're in my chat at this stage. And I pull all this up, and I'm looking at the unban request while I'm playing Elden Ring. And I go, mods are out of control. I'm the one who banned him.
That's
and then I go,
I remember this the other night. Yeah.
and I go, he's banned because I thought he was under terms of service age. If you want your mate to stay in chats, you should probably not act like he's 10 years old, right? I'm laughing at this hilarious series of events of Sims in my bum 20 times while I'm doing a sponsored stream, getting banned, telling your mate you did nothing wrong, the mate saying the mods are out of control when I'm the one who banned, not the mods, and then bringing your other mate in to come in and be like, you're making fun of small streamers. I don't know you're a streamer. All I know is you're under 12 years old.
I had this amazing command which my mods do, and it was we all get this. Nick, sorry to cut you off. It's just very quick. There was a user of my stream who was like, anyone giving free subs? Any gifted subs in here? That type of thing. And obviously we banned him. It was like, fuck that. If you're asking for free subs, what the hell's wrong with you? It was before the ban, and they go, they didn't ban him, they deleted the message asking for free subs and go, please do not ask for free subs, this is not what it's about. Obviously, what a stupid thing to do. And then he goes, mods are cringe, BT dubs. And then he goes, gifted sub, please, ? And so we made that into a command. I think it's called !mods. So every time you tell me !mods, it goes, mods are cringe, gift sub, please. And we banned that motherfucker. But isn't it just this amazing entitlement that just goes on of like, what do you hope to achieve? Sorry about that, Nick. Please continue with your story.
I was going to say, I think something we should do, that if someone does come in saying like, free sub, please, we should just have like a photo pop up on stream of like a Subway, like
yeah.
We just move on,
and then it says a price underneath it that you don't have to pay for.
Exactly. I had a similar situation, LJ, but it was actually the opposite thing happened, where someone I think either put an unban request in or tried to whisper the mod, say like, I don't know why I'm unbanned, this and that, and we've addressed it now, but like at the time, so one of my mods came in and was like, two of them were like, hey, Nick, we think you might have someone accidentally got banned. And then like they sent me like a screenshot, whatever. And I was like, guys, check mod chat. And I had to quickly go into mod chat and be like, this person is banned for a reason. I banned them. Yeah. And I was like, guys, please don't bring this up on stream. If you need to talk about stuff, that's what we have the mod chat for. And I'm like, sorry. Yeah. So it was just like, no. If they're banned for a reason, guys. Come on. Yes. So it was that we had that. It was the only time that's ever happened, and we've obviously they've moved on and learned from that. But it was just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, let's not bring up their attention.
Would you guys ban Sims in the bum?
What was that? Sorry.
Would you guys Sims in the bum?
Would you ban someone spamming Sims in the bum in all caps? I put Optus Sims in my bums. Yeah, you ban, right?
Of course. Yeah. Like, especially if they continue to do it. First time, I'll be like, okay, you're trying to obviously get attention, and you realize that isn't the vibe of the chat. But if they continue to do it and try and get around the level 3 moderation, or whatever, I'll be like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Get out of my stream. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not in the wrong for getting rid of this person. No. Even if that's the kind of hilarious content that I'm there for. It still makes it very clear this person is under 13.
That's and it's also a sponsored stream. Like, come on.
Exactly. You don't do that in a sponsored stream. Like if they tried it once, they're like, okay, it can't get through. Okay. And if they dropped it, like that's what you want. Like you should drop it. If you try to do something and it doesn't go through, just drop it. That's it. Move on.
Yeah. Definitely.
If I don't read your message, please don't post it 3 more times.
Such a dumb thing. So what
Maybe
we
once more.
Okay, that'll work then.
You know, it can work the other 19 times. I reckon it'll work this time.
But this time. Okay, we will finish off, obviously. I think it's my week for obviously the call on response in the chat. By the way, I have already had people come into my chat this week saying I did potty training, and I said, great work. Good work. People were like, what the fuck? And I was like,
about to say I'd forgotten the other one, but thank you for
I'm so
reminding
happy.
me.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm so keen for tonight.
Oh my God, potty tray. So I think this one we should do something, maybe not the bum thing because that would just be bad, but let's go.
All Gap Sims in my bar.
Because then the mods will ban them and I'll be like, oh, it's actually a to and fro thing. Okay, what should we do here in terms of it? Okay. Okay, here's what we do. Here's what we do. I would like somebody to come into my chat and go for this week's pod thing and go, hey, name a streamer. Follow for follow, and then you respond with, if you give me a gifted sub, that's what we'll do.
We can't in my channel. That's a ban. They'll get full ban. The auto mod will just straight up ban them.
Okay. Oh, sheesh. Okay. Let me think of something really quick. You know what? Talk amongst yourselves, and I'll think of something. Do your last thoughts, and I'll think of something.
I was just gonna say, it's been really entertaining having people coming in going like, did you know egg is a vegetable? And then just having so much fun being like, it's actually a fruit. Come on, guys. This is just common knowledge. Like, it's been really fun.
The mods going, what are you talking about, Reapz? It's not a fruit. And I'm like, I know it's not a fruit or a vegetable. It's fine. Go, continue on.
A little update, by the way, the 390,000 sub person who was like, how is Mozart incredibly copyrighted? It's literally public domain, XD. I wrote back to him. Sorry, guys, mid-podcast, but that really boiled my blood. I wrote back to him mid-podcast. The song may be public domain when it was written, but the orchestras that perform it copyright their performances. The large majority of public domain classical music people use is actually copyrighted by performances and can be striked and or claimed. Took him 30 minutes, but he replied, true. Kevin MacLeod does have a bunch of classical music covers, though, that can be used. And I replied back, yes, exactly. That's a good example. Those are copyrighted but safe to use. However, most of Kevin MacLeod's classical music, he asks you and you're required to credit in the description because they're so similar and other orchestras try and claim them. Hall of the Mountain King, for example, is a good example of this. They require credit directly to Kevin for his specific version or else YouTube comes after you. Hence why I said it's incredibly copyrighted. Imagine having 400,000 subs. And being, he's a musician on his channel as well, and not understanding, like what it blows my mind.
The DMCA of it all. It's just, it really does boggle the mind. Okay, here's what it's going to be. Go into the chat of the person and go, is the best advice no advice? ? And we go, if you give me a gifted sub, it is. And that's what it's going to be. So is the best advice no advice? That is what you've got to say to us. And we will go, if you give me a gifted sub, it is done.
I like it.
Yep.
I'm down with that. I'm sure a lot of people will be very confused, but I like it.
That's going to be great.
It's a little bit easier, a little bit less on the nose as potty training, but I'll go with it.
I had to think of it on the spot. I can't beat potty training. Nobody can beat potty training.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been potty training for 23 years. What can I say?
Oh my gosh. I'm excited to deal with
any last words before we head off? We are dropping frames, obviously, but any last words?
Sorry for the big tangents today. Lots of rants, lots of intensity today. Bad advice boils the blood.
Yep. All good. We covered everything. Pretty solid.
That's right. So again, last call. Please let us know in the comments if you'd like us to talk about anything, maybe even future guests that you think would be a good fit. But definitely Q&As. We love obviously reacting and answering your Q&As. Please give it like. Please give it a thumbs up. All the subscribe thing. You know the call to actions. We really appreciate it and helps a small channel like ours grow and grow and grow. But until next week, we are dropping frames. Love all your faces. LJ, Nick, I will see you next week. And obviously, have a lovely time. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, guys. Bye.